Welcome back to the Trifecta Airsoft Podcast. I'm your host, E-Rock. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss another podcast. Also, do me a favor. Go on to whatever podcast app you listen to us on and give us a rating and review. That really helps us rank in the searches. Thank you so much. Let's get into the podcast.
But we'll probably, ask you to give us a little background. Shane, you guys came together because of Airsoft, so obviously we gotta talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah,
that'll
be fun. So yeah.
Can we all record this? What are we putting this out on the deep end, or can we all put it out? E-Rock, do you want to put it out?
Yeah, we just put it out as a big swap cast. It's up to you guys, man.
Yeah, it's up to you, man. I record everything just in case, like,
hell yeah.
We talk about something that's kind of cool, and I can get my damn chair set up here. Jesus. But yeah, I record it. I mean, I don't care whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely cool to record this shit and share it wherever, man. It's going to be a fun time all around,
Right.
And it's cool. I never got into Airsoft, even though I wanted to. But just none of my friends wanted to go down that rabbit hole with me back in the day. And they were more into paintball. So then I finally got switched and got a paintball gun, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all done with that." I'm like, but I still have this really sick M16 replica paintball gun. They're like, nice. Have fun. I'm like,
yeah. Well, bro, when was the last time you played airsoft or paintball?
This is 15 years ago, probably.
Yeah,
years ago.
So look, I've been talking to a lot of these airsofters as well. Some of them play paintball as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have come from paintball, and some of them still play paintball. So, dude, I played paintball, 20 years ago, and these guys are on here like, oh yeah, have you seen the mag-fed paintballs? Have you seen the first strike ones? I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. They go in, you feed them into a mag, just like you're loading a real gun.
Yeah.
And they're not a full round ball. They've got the ball is the front, and then the back end is plastic fins that are rifled.
No shit.
So this thing zings super straight. You know how paintballs always lob?
Oh yeah.
No, these things these things shoot straight as fuck, and and I guess they hurt worse.
Make the armor feel more important.
I'm like, dude, this is cool. Okay. Hell yeah.
That is wild. Yeah, I've noticed that with a lot of kids' weapons, toys and stuff like that. They're it's either make them absolutely ridiculous so they don't look real at all, kind of mentality, or hey, why not educate kids and just give them all the cool details that most boys are gonna be interested in anyway. I've noticed that.
Right.
My son is just inherently interested in machines and guns and lasers and it's just, I didn't even really give that to him. He kind of picked up on certain things and chose which things he liked, and out of the plethora that he was shown. So I think it's just inherently it's something in us that we're curious.
It really is. I know with my wife and I have 5 kids, so we had them all close together.
That's so cool.
So when we had 3 boys, 2 girls. When the boys were little, they're out there. The girls didn't do it. Neither girls did it. But the boys be out in the backyard. I'm talking 1.5, 2 years old. They pick up a stick and go like this and point at you and go, pshew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I know they're, they pick up things, they see things, they hear things, with cartoons and movies and shows, and just I had guns in the house and stuff that but it's just wild, man. Why didn't the girls do it? It's so wild.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't have any girls, but my niece is definitely the last one to pick up one of the Nerf guns.
Not to say there aren't exceptions to that rule, because my wife, I have pictures of her just shooting recurve bows and stuff and everything. So it's man, I wasn't around for it, but so what was I gonna say? Yeah, sometimes there's an exception to the rule, but for the most part, it's always the boys that are kind of just naturally drawn to those kind of things.
Absolutely.
But where was I gonna go with that? Oh yeah, just the fact that back during the pandemic, man, I think I told Shane all about this because I was bitching to him about it because I knew he was into airsoft. I wanted to at least show my son what paintball guns looked like, because I was telling him about them, because there was like a paintball video game, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, let me show you what paintballs are like. You're already
Roblox,
pretending.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, then we went to Cabela's, then we went to Walmart, and we went all over the place. No paintball anywhere. It was just gone. And what I got was an excuse from each and every one of those retailers was something, something pandemic. And then ever since,
Really?
and it was like interesting. So they used it. And I was like, what about airsoft? Yeah, probably not. But on our website, that's a different story. You might find some on like everyone, even Cabela's had like, I think they had one pellet gun. Yeah. And it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, there was like maybe some sort of corporate opportunity to be like, hey, let's just silently get rid of all the kid guns and the toy guns and everything that's not, you know what I mean? Like, just like get rid of that idea out of the kids' heads of like
Massachusetts too, dude.
That's true too. I am in Massachusetts, so it's gonna be a very tunnel vision story. You guys may be like, that ain't happening here.
Dude, I'm good in Dollar General. There's a whole gun section in the toy aisle.
Hey, my 7-Eleven's got them, okay? Shit, what are you talking
about? Yeah, up here on the East Coast, we are, well, not we, but yeah, in general, it is very liberal and everything. So,
yeah, you guys up north, northeast, you got most of those states are pretty like heavily, liberal or gun control kind of, things like that. And then you got, what is it, Maine? That's like constitutional carry, baby. Okay.
Maine's
so wild.
Maine's the Wild West. Like, Maine is crazy.
Where you get your trailer tag
often, and you go up there far enough, and we'll just sit there like, dude, there's not a single sound. You can't hear a car. You can't hear anything. What? You're just fucking out there in the middle of nowhere,
That's creepy, yeah.
Well, this is way up in like Baxter State Park, but that's the thing about Maine. There's so many like big state parks and everything. It's just so much forest. Same with New Hampshire. And of course, New Hampshire now has like the free staters, like all these libertarians going hard and like kind of, they've been openly infiltrating the very liberal government of New Hampshire for like the last 25 years. And over the past few, since like a lot more of the demographics like have been more open-minded, more rebellious,
right,
and a lot more free staters have been created. So New Hampshire is like, liberals are fleeing the state like, it's treachery, it's horrifying.
Well, there's so many more people are seeing how just totally corrupt, like blatant in your face corrupt that the government is, and they're going, okay, both parties are fucked. All the news organizations, the mainstream media organizations are fucked on either side. Like they're all repeating the same shit, and people are starting to wake up and go, wait a minute, okay, maybe libertarians got something going on, like they're common sense. They're all about less government control and shit.
Absolutely. And some would argue that the government, like some form of organization is necessary. And I'm not smart enough or intellectual enough or involved with political science enough to really know if that's the right answer or not. You hear so many people on both sides of that. I mean, I tend to lean more towards total anarchy, but then again, there's a lot of good points against that as well, so like, we're not prepared for any world, it seems. We've been because we've been like turned into cattle for so long.
Yes.
It's like we don't know really how to jump to this awesome future that we have so much potential for. Like, and then we have a really hard time like trying to go back to our roots and go back to like way more physical labor, way more patience and growing your own shit, like all kinds of things. So it's like we have a hard time jumping off to any better paradigm right now. I feel like we're in such chaos and we've just been herded so long, like libertarianism is a good idea until some of it becomes like a breeding bed for just ideologies and stuff like that. Like there's a big libertarian style, like maybe not directly libertarian, but very libertarian.
Yeah, but what if?
Hang on. Libertarian fun, leaning festival that happens in New Hampshire. It just happened a few weeks ago. Okay. And suddenly Kennedy's on the talking bill and Tulsi Gabbard's on the bill. And it's like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Like suddenly this grassroots thing is getting pretty mainstream. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's and there's so many arguments on both sides of it. Okay, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
No, I think that's what happens though, right? You're right. That's the grassroots movement or whatever. Like that means it's not like a mainstream idea, right? So, but and there's a lot of people like personality types like myself that once something becomes popular, I fucking hate it. So because
Right.
and honestly, I don't hate it just because it's popular. What I hate is it creates this wave of fanboys that only follow it. They're not ideology. I'm an idealist, okay,
Mm.
and so I have a set of standards and principles that I follow, no matter what anyone is saying. I don't give a fuck what anyone is saying. The news, common sense things, like basic, human things that my parents taught me that are, hey, treat people like you want to be treated, like golden rule,
The
okay,
golden
shit like
rule,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, use common sense. Masks work with a deadly virus, but no. If you're rioting, you don't have to wear one. Like use your
Yeah.
common sense. Okay, so there's nothing that I'm gonna. Some of those basic beliefs that I have are not gonna change because the mainstream talks about it. But the grassroots things, like once it becomes a more popular thing, gains popularity, there is a spot that's like the perfect, right,
Bread and
median. That's
butter.
like, this is it. Okay, yeah, I'm on board. This okay. Let's make some change,
Right.
and then it'll get and then all the people that started it will get some power, and then they'll start getting a little corrupt, and they'll
Yeah.
be like, oh yeah, well no, we have power, we can, no, that we shouldn't be doing that. Well, you said in the beginning you wanted to do that. Yeah, but look now, okay, like, oh dude, come on.
Every
Yeah.
time.
A
I
lot
don't
of
know.
gatekeeping suddenly, it's like, whoa, 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 what's happening? And censorship. And it's like, wait, whoa.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, man. So Shane, what were you gonna say when you were like, but what
What
if?
if?
Oh no, that was literally like you were saying how libertarians they couldn't get into like just a fucking cesspool of
Oh, right.
ideology. Yeah, yeah, so I was mocking that, saying, "Yeah, but what
Fair
if?
enough.
What if that? What if that?"
So I'm
Fair
at
enough.
so my background, I grew up in Northeast Ohio,
Mhm.
Cleveland area, Akron, and my wife and I met in high school, and I went in the Marine Corps for 4 years after high school. She went to Kent State University, and I came back from overseas, proposed her, we got married. I still had 2 years left on active duty. I was stationed at Pendleton, my last duty station. It's actually a pretty cool gig. I worked on a shooting range out there,
Cool.
and beautiful weather by the beach, hot chicks, shooting guns all day. So
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
that's fucking awesome. Okay. Um, so
That's like an 80s action movie. Just perfect. That's great.
having sex on the beach. Okay, like literally. But yeah, it was, and then we got married, and then I got out, and we had 5 kids, 7 years. That was
Absolutely
like,
beautiful, man. That's awesome.
thank you. Yeah, we wanted six until we had four, and then I said, okay, bro, this is getting crazy. So I worked factories and stuff and construction most of my time, from the time I got out in '93 until just about 5 years ago, until I was paralyzed, and then I was paralyzed with an illness called Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it's similar to ALS, shit like that. So coming out of that, once I was recovered enough to where I could actually walk around the house, I came down here, got on the computer, and I said, "What the fuck am I going to do?" I didn't want to take uh, the government, whatever you call it, assistance, right?
Mm.
I didn't want to get any of that. And my wife's like, "Why don't you sign up?" Oh, disability, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, "No, I'll figure something out." And she's like, "Why are you so stubborn?" I'm like, "I'm just not. I don't need anything from the government." So,
Right. And
uh,
this from a former Marine. Well, there is no such thing, right? As a former.
yeah, former
This
Marine.
from a
Yeah, I
Marine.
say former Marine. Yeah, and it, and I joke like, okay, I had everything I need from the government when I was, in the military, but I don't like. I just really wanted to figure something out. I don't know. It was just like it was a pride thing for sure. Um,
Mm.
Good
it
though.
would have
That's
helped me
sweet.
out to sign up for that and get it, especially in the beginning. But um, I said, you know what, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. I started like three before I started the airsoft one,
Mhm.
and started a review channel, a cooking channel, and I fucking hate cooking. Okay, um, no shit, but I had fun. It was fun. I dragged my daughter into it, and my
That's
son
cool.
I dragged into the review channel, and then the airsoft channel came about because two of my boys, my older boys, got into it while I was, recovering, and they brought a gun home, and I was like, "What is this?" And they showed me. I was like, "Holy shit! I didn't know they advanced that much." So I
Right.
was like, "This would be cool to film." Now, actually, I didn't plan on starting the airsoft channel. I already had a review channel that me and my son were doing, and I said, "Colton, why don't we just review all these guns? These are cool on that review channel." And then Johnny came over, who's their friend they grew up with, who got him into airsoft, and he was talking about mystery boxes and all this shit, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there's enough for we could actually start a separate channel, and that's what we did 4 years ago. We started out doing mystery boxes, unboxings and reviews of all the guns we would get, and we had a shit ton of stuff to do because there was four of us on the channel. Each one of us would order a mystery box every month they came out.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
we'd
And what are
You
we
have,
get like
talking?
you
Like,
get
how
like
much?
you get like two or three guns in a mystery box. You
yeah,
usually get like a rifle and a pistol and
pistol,
like, you
a
know,
specialty thing,
yeah,
or an
yeah.
extra gift item or something.
Fucking gel
Mhm.
blaster.
So we would open. So the first month we started was April of 2019 was our first video that we released. So April there was and we did the evic BOAs, box of awesomeness. Okay, so we had at the end of April they had one. We got that one at the beginning of May. What's in May? Mother's Day. There's something else. Oh, end of May is Memorial Day.
That's right.
So we had Memorial Day. Then going into June, you have June 6th for the World War II remembrance thing. Then you had Father's Day, and then something else at the end of June. Anyway, we had like four within a month. So that's 16 boxes to unbox,
Wow.
each of
That's
them
wild.
having two guns. Okay, so we had a shit ton of stuff to do, reviews, and that's how we started. But anyway, about almost 2 years ago, my sons and JP got really busy, and I had gotten into doing the podcast, and I made it kind of official, and I started doing it every week, and that's how I met Shane. Because I was, just scrolling through Instagram, like all these airsofters. Oh, I've talked with this person, I've talked with that person, and I see who liked their stuff, and I'd go to their page, and I'm like, oh shit, let me talk to this dude, and that's how Shane and I met. So,
That's
and then
awesome.
Shane told me about you because we had Shane the last time you and I talked.
Mhm.
What did we were just bullshitting. We were just fucking bullshitting.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it wasn't even really about airsoft. It was just fucking
We're all
around.
over the place, yeah.
We started out kind of joking around a little bit, but we were kind of bashing Australia for, like for, well, I know what it was. It was
I'm
for
friends with him
banning.
again, by the way. But still, fuck Australia.
we were
Shout
bashing
out to Drew
because
missing from from your missing the point. We love you, Drew.
Love
we
you,
love.
dude.
Hey,
Fuck,
listen,
get
I love
out.
my Aussies, man, but it was they had just banned gel blasters, so
Yeah,
we were
Oh
dude.
my
talking about
god,
that.
that's
Fucking
unreal.
crazy, dude. Like they already
Are
didn't
they
have
gateway
airsoft.
guns
Like
or what? Like what's their?
That's
I
it.
wonder what the angle was. Yeah,
That's what it
fucking
is.
gateway gun.
that's kind of my feeling when I noticed all of the guns gone from Walmart and Dick's around me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude.
was Massachusetts pulling some fucking covert shit? But
Well, that's
Yeah, but we can.
kind of on that topic. We've had this conversation, me and a bunch of people that I've had on the podcast, is that, that why are these, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube throttling and shadow banning airsoft content? Because they'll allow real gun stuff all day long, and
Mm.
not real gun, bro. I've been watching war clips.
Yeah, dude.
I'm talking where
Constantly. The
people are
war is
getting
viral.
where
Fucking
they're getting blasted and
murked.
blown apart. They're showing it
Yeah, it's
on
disgusting.
Instagram, but you can't show. They'll take down
toy
your
gun.
video for an airsoft gun. It
We are
makes no
entering
sense.
RoboCop. We are very close to RoboCop.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Dude,
It's
that's what I
that
was gonna
scene
say
in
earlier
Gladiator
about.
where he's like, "Are you not entertained? You know?
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah,
you want more blood." You
That's what I was
know?
gonna say
man.
earlier about the society doesn't know where to go. It has so much potential. We're just waiting around for the AI to take over.
Oh, dude.
Funny you mentioned
Fucking
that. While, like,
Jetsons.
when I was waiting for you guys, I was actually, I can't believe I was subjecting myself to this, but I was listening to Elon Musk be interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and I was only like 15 minutes into, I think it's like a 2-hour interview,
Mm.
but it's weird because like I
that
know.
recent?
I think it's kind of recent, but it's
Okay.
not super recent. I think it's
Okay.
like from a month or two ago.
Oh, okay.
It has to be pretty damn recent because I know that Carlson's only been on Twitter for so long doing his thing,
Yeah, that's true.
officially having that be
Couple
his
months.
platform. And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't trust either of those men, but I know, or at least I feel that the angle that they are providing is supposed to be the more legitimate, down to earth angle. More cautious with AI, all the different topics, taking a more human, moderate kind of approach to everything in some senses. But of course, it's being used and called propaganda by every, brainwashed citizen out there, of course. But I don't know. It seems to me like those people are like kind of aimed at the more critical thinking in a way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong though, because I think
No, I
others would
agree.
jump down my throat sometimes and say, absolutely not. They're, Tucker Carlson. My God, are you kidding me? It's all like the rednecks of the world love Tucker. That's the.
I guess I'm
of
redneck.
course.
I like what he talks about, man. He's straightforward, especially now that he's been off of Fox. I mean, he's not censored at all. Like he makes up his own show and talks about this shit like he's very well spoken. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
the way he sets up his speeches. Elon Musk is smart. Now, you know about the fight, the
Oh
Zuckerberg and
God.
I have heard about that. Is that a like? I know
I
it's
think
a
it
real
is.
possibility. Like it's. I don't even. They both agreed to it or something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know
I
that
know
there's
that
already an AI or like AI art generated one, and it's pretty.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Zuck turns into a giant lizard.
That makes sense. That tracks. But then Elon would turn into a fucking dragon.
An alien or something? Yeah, no
Yeah.
shit.
Be a fucking gray, dude. He's so,
So-
pale.
I've been having some crazy conversations lately, and this one episode I did recently talking about the Luciferian mentality versus an even older mentality, and it seems to like the Luciferian side of things is like it's just a good placeholder word for like this AI friendly. I don't know, like Elon Musk fits it perfectly where
Really?
we're like, yeah, he's Mr. Free Speech, but Twitter is becoming super locked down again, of course, in certain directions and certain angles. But not only that, he's also Mr. Brain Chip. You know what I mean? So it's like, how much should we, you put, I don't know.
That
this
is true.
fake hero.
There's some inconsistencies there. Right.
Right.
That's
But,
true.
I mean, granted, he's warning about AI, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't know. I don't trust
he's
anybody
feeding it.
that I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm too paranoid.
Dude,
No, you know what's funny? I saw something like a meme or something like that on Instagram just like a month ago or something where, and I never had thought about this, but the new, or it's not new, but the thing that I forget the CAPTCHA check. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you go to sign in something and it says, we have to make sure you're not a robot. It's a robot making sure you're not a fucking robot.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, oh, that blew my mind.
And there was an AI. I can't remember the story. I would butcher it if I try, but basically it was an AI that was like programmed to go out into the internet and like do certain things and like try to pass as a human.
Mm.
That was its task, and it passed pretty intensely, like at least with CAPTCHA and a couple other things.
It's got to
Where
be
it, like,
easy
got right
for
by
it.
it.
Yeah, for real.
Because
Like,
Terrifying.
humans are really dumb with like clicking on a mouse and tapping on a keyboard
I
and
feel
shit.
stupid sometimes where it's like click all pictures with a bus in it, and it's like there's one picture with just like the corner of the bus in it. You're like, do I click that one too?
Yeah.
Or like,
Like that doesn't have a bus in it. And it doesn't say the parts of any part of a bus.
Yeah.
It'll just say a bus. I'm like,
yeah,
well, none
I
of them
think
have the whole bus in it.
I think AI represents childhood taking over adulthood.
Mm.
That's a weird one, but
Yeah.
hear me out. So we want instant gratification,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now that was once something that was only talked about by the older people commenting on the young.
Yeah.
That is not the case anymore. Across the board, instant gratification is the entire consciousness of fucking planet Earth at this point.
Yeah. That's true.
And it's worse on our children than it was on us, but it's
Yeah.
all of us.
It's the
I mean,
adults too. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, my dad's in his late 60s and he's more obsessed with his phone than I am. You know what I mean?
Isn't that
So,
wild?
like, and not to single him out, it
Yeah,
works the other way too, of course, but like,
Yeah.
it's just all of us now. And AI represents this massive step up in exponential learning. And like, even from the good perspective of just considering it a tool for humans, not us like relying on it, but that's what it turns into, right? That's the slippery slope.
The
And
Jetsons.
why do we want it in the first place? Convenience,
Mhm.
convenience,
Convenience.
right? And that's
I
not a new
fucking
that's not
robot.
a new game. It's definitely not a
Yes.
new game, but it's an extra dimension to an old game. You
Right,
turn the
right.
square into a cube.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really, really close to the what's that kids movie? Wall-E. Where they're riding
Yeah,
around in
God,
hover chairs.
dude.
Yes, Idiocracy
like-
and Wall-E together.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
For real.
Welcome to Costco.
Crocs.
I love you.
Yeah, sitting in your lounge chair with a big toilet built into it, just shitting yourself while you're.
I mean,
Playing a
there's
video
some
game.
good ideas in that movie.
I'm
you
saying
know?
now, okay.
That's the
Braun
problem,
do.
like, that was back to like what I was saying in the beginning, how like we're not prepared as we are right now for any future or like revival of something better from the past, because you look at something like AI and just technology, where it's going, and all of that could still just be used as tools, and we could use them properly, I think. However, none of us are prepared to really do that because we're not in a good place, because it's like an individual that wants to skip all the shadow work and just get to that happy, positive, spiritual person. you know?
Yes.
And we're doing that
Oh,
as a
those
human
people.
race. We want to bypass spiritual. It doesn't even have to be spiritual, because not
No,
everyone
but
has to be
that-
spiritual.
Just
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but that's a good
maturity.
example, because that's one of the things
Maturity.
that you can't really skip. Like
True
it
adulthood.
takes time, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It really does take time and patience, meditation, praying,
Yeah.
whatever, like focus, right?
Yeah,
Daily,
focus,
daily,
yeah.
maybe multiple times a day. Like you really have to be disciplined enough to put this shit away, okay?
Yeah.
Stop looking at, turn off, turn these off, turn off your TV. Like we see monitors every fucking where. Your watch, your phone, what I'm looking at here, in the shopping area,
Fucking
wherever,
billboards.
everywhere,
At work.
right? Yeah.
You
All
know?
the time. So you got to go to a place where you turn it off. You consciously have to go. Like it used to be, you had to consciously go find this thing, right? Because it was so
Yeah.
rare.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And oh yeah, my buddy's got one down the road. Whatever. Like, I mean, I'm talking
Back in the
my
day.
Hey,
parents, right?
yeah.
So-
Even back in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was a kid, I grew up in the
Always
70s,
got
and
the plasma TV.
it was my parents didn't have a TV when I was a kid,
Mhm.
and until I was about maybe 10ish. And then when we got a TV, we didn't have cable. We just had the antenna on the roof, and we'd hit the side of the TV, it would be all static and shit. So
The news sometimes.
right, I was my dad's remote, right? Turn that channel. I had, so I mean, we had to go search it out, and now We have to really go search out a place in your house that is actually secluded from this, where
Yeah,
you can
man.
discipline yourself to be focused. There's a lot of people that talk about this stuff. Jocko Willink
Yep.
is one of them, but there's a lot of these guys that promote that and talk about it. Like, hey, this is really good for your mental health. Like, turn this off,
Yeah.
go away, like even just for an hour, half hour,
Feel
whatever.
the world. Feel
Yes.
the fucking
Now,
world for a minute.
yeah, go out barefoot in the grass, like
Yeah.
For real,
grounding. They call it grounding yourself. It's there's a real thing that happens between the energy of the earth in your bare feet, and a lot of people don't have that anymore. People can't even walk barefoot anymore
Right. People
unless you're
don't
on
like
the
to. I don't
on the
even like to
beach.
sometimes. I have to get
Yeah.
used to it all over again. I'm from New England. We have brutal winters and
Oh yeah.
disgusting hangover springs. And by summer, it's like, yeah, you forget all, like your feet don't remember. And
Uh-huh.
they hurt all over again. We're walking on
Does.
Yeah,
rocks and
man.
everything. It's like,
Oh
God
yeah.
damn. Yeah.
It really does.
But
Maryland
yeah,
gets
you're
pretty
right. That
cold.
grounding is cool. My wife always does it. Her feet are just like
Hmm.
steel now. She
Okay.
always tell me I need
Okay.
to do that more often,
Yeah.
and get back
Well,
to it.
you make a little nice grounding pad, like if it, just out in your backyard or something. Just somewhere you don't have to walk long distance. You just need to
True.
stand there. But it's a good place
Meditate.
to meditate or whatever. But we've lost a lot of that stuff, and it's we're constantly. Well, this one guy I was talking to recently, he's young, 18, and he said, "Yeah, I want to get." He's in really great shape. He played sports and stuff, and he kept in shape, and he's very lean and muscular and everything. But he said, I'm just I want to get stronger mentally. And I said, you want to get stronger mentally? Anything that its only purpose is or to give you pleasure, turn it off.
Yeah.
So turn off your porn. Don't jerk off.
Yeah.
Don't eat anything that's not beneficial to your body for
Yeah.
nutrients. It's only there for pleasure. Anything that's just that there's no good benefit besides pleasure, turn it off. Try it for a week. If you can go a week, try it for 10 days. Try it for 2 weeks. Keep turning it off, turn it off, turn it off. In fact, try not to pleasure yourself at all. Like, don't, if something is easy, take the hard way. Do
Yeah.
that for a month and you'll start to get mentally tough. That's all it is. Like, you
Yeah.
just, put yourself in inconvenient spots.
I love
Yeah,
Jocko's
man.
perspective on that shit.
Right.
I think I bought my sister a book by him, and she is not the Jocko listening type whatsoever. But at
Yeah.
the same time, like his books are so awesome, and they're just in your face, and his perspective is so undeniable. It's not even really his,
Mhm.
but the stoicism of it, and it's very Buddhist. And I was gonna just say that, like,
Yep.
along that path, it's really up to the individual. How far do you want to take it? Because that
Mhm.
going 2 weeks, going 4 weeks, what's pleasure? Some people would consider at first like reading and nonfiction, getting into like, oh, that's mental strength. In a way, it can be, but it also becomes entertainment. It also
Right.
becomes sucking in knowledge from the external world, whether it's
Mhm.
good or bad. Like, it's still consumption, it's still entertainment in a way. It's
Mhm.
still feeding the body to
Yeah.
distract it, and I say that a lot about like us doing podcasts. It's a great thing, but at least we get out and do things, and we like try to put our money where our mouths are.
Mhm.
We try to grow our as much food as we can here. We're homeschooling our son, so I try to talk
Oh,
about these
awesome.
things and not be full of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lead by
Um,
example. Yeah,
but
for
a lot
sure.
of times we just get caught up in the minutia of just like talking about action rather than taking action.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's good to talk about these things and remind ourselves of that.
Some of the action that needs to be taken requires quite a bit of force
Yeah,
Oh,
it does.
and
Well, that's the thing.
organization.
Well, it's
Motivation. Yeah.
only in
Yeah.
the beginning. It's that, inertia or the
Snowball, right?
yeah, you've got to, it takes a lot of energy at first to get something moving that's just sitting there, right? That's stagnant. Once you get, something of mass and whatever kind of thing you're trying to get moving, like if you're trying to create a new habit and a new discipline, it's yeah, it's difficult. That's why, there's all those sayings about one day at a time. Now this can be very useful for shit like that because you can just talk to this thing and set a reminder in 2 seconds or an alarm and a timer or whatever, like just to help you get into this habit, that create a new habit, so in the beginning it's tough, especially like getting up early if you're not used to it, and trying to get some
Yeah,
shit done in in the morning. It is really nice though, like it's so quiet. The
Yeah.
world's not awake yet
it's the
at
best.
5 a.m. typically, and you're not going to hear, where I live, you're not going to hear cars that early. It's still a little dark. Um, it's just it's peaceful,
Yeah,
but
man.
it's hard as fuck to get out of bed that early when
Even
you're
when you're used to
comfortable.
it, even
Oh
when you get
yeah.
used to it, man. Like I've been getting up at 5 a.m. for my job for so long, and now it's like it still sucks no matter what. Like no matter
Yeah.
how much sleep I get, it's still like you're not, yeah. But
Dude, what is that? Why? Like, why? Like, you try to go to sleep and you
it's
can't.
the
You just
same
lay
thing.
there. You don't
Same
go to
thing.
sleep. You
I
wake
feel that
up in
way
the
about.
morning, and
Oh, go
it's
ahead.
just the most comfortable you've ever been.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time you
Yeah.
wake up, you're like, I don't care. I'm like, I'll just die right here. Like, this is the best.
I feel that way about like
Get
working
out of
out,
bed five
right?
minutes
Like,
later, and you're like, oh yeah.
yeah, then it feels fine, right? After a little while.
Yeah, working out is kind of the same thing,
Like,
man.
you
But as
feel like
soon
it's
as you,
always painful, but like
Hmm.
you get into a flow state eventually.
yeah, dude, after you're like halfway through it, you're just like, yeah, dude, this is what I'm fucking doing. And then you just
Right.
try to go
Stopping
till
feels
you
wrong.
can't.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
That is the good part. Like once you get it
It's like
moving,
that runner's high.
Right.
yeah, once you get it, it really doesn't take long.
Right.
It's as far as the mental ping pong go, it's like it's more work in your head to resist it and
Yeah.
contemplate it and go back and forth, like make excuses and or whatever, and then just
They try to call
fucking
that
do. Just
ADHD.
just go, okay, alarm goes off. All right, my feet are on the floor. God damn it, this sucks. Okay, you're walking over here. And then like 3, 4, 5 minutes into whatever you're doing, push ups, stretching, whatever it is, you start breathing a little heavier, like, okay, all right. Like it doesn't take that long. It's not
Right.
like it takes like a good hour of hard work for your body to go, all right, now I'm
That'd be
going. No, man, it's like a
insane.
few minutes.
I like to
I don't
use
think any. I don't think there'd be a human race. I think everyone would have just killed themselves.
yeah, man.
Now, Shane, what,
Anyway,
I mean, Alan, well, Shane too. How did you guys meet? Shane, you might have
oh,
told me when we
dude.
talked, but
So
what's your guys' story here?
so me and Andy met through our friend Mark Steves,
Oh,
who
I called you Alan. I'm
runs
sorry, man.
It's all good, Andy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Andy.
Shout out to Mark.
runs the My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast, and he's the booker for the Tinfoil Hat podcast, and he runs our podcast collective, Alt Media United. And
Nice.
I think did I send Mark the song and then he sent it to you?
You
Or did
sent
I send it? Who did I send it to?
well, you sent him a song. I
I
think
wrote
either.
him a song.
Yeah, you sent that to him, and then
Yeah.
he sent it to me like, "Yo, Andy, what do you think of this, man? I know you're into this heavy music.
Yeah.
You
He's
tell
like a
me.
he's
You
like
tell
a
me if this is
Red
good or
Hot
not.
Chili
You know?
Peppers and like hip hop
Yeah,
kind of
all power
guy.
to it. I love my kind of like more mellow music too, but when it comes to metal, yes, I will absolutely take on that badge of honor of expert. And yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
confirm for Mark that it was absolute fire, and I
Hey.
needed to know who the human being behind the music was. And he was like, "It's this guy Shane." And yeah, he just threw me his Instagram tag, and I reached out to him like, "Dude, oh my god, you are awesome." That's where it went from me. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
Okay.
dude,
you'd already
then
known my podcast, or maybe not, but you knew Mark, so we had the mutual friend right off the bat.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
how
soon
did
as he
each of you know Mark?
um I don't how did I even
I
I
think you
think
reached
I
out to him.
heard Mark on Tinfoil Hat like
Okay.
before he even started My Family Thinks I'm Crazy and Alt Media United.
Right.
And man, I'm coming up on 2 years since I started my podcast.
Hell yeah.
So it's hard to remember, dude.
Well,
Uh
I think from what Mark told me about you, you reached out to him like as a fan, and
yeah,
you were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Yo,
Mm,
check out this
okay.
song I wrote for you,"
Yeah.
and he
So I
was
was
blown
definitely
away.
listening to him.
So then he
Yeah,
took that
okay.
song and like played it as he was like, dude, I'm
Usually
gonna
what I
put it
do.
as my intro for a while or my outro
Yeah.
or something. It's gonna freak people out.
Yeah,
Like, hell yeah. Good for you, man.
it was heavy as fuck. It
Yeah,
was
man.
like
It
a
was
super
awesome.
trippy. It is wild. That's
And then
kind
you
of what
wrote
I
one
was
for
doing
me.
with you, Rock. Well, I
Yeah,
know
he made one
no,
for
I
me
didn't.
too.
No, I didn't. I
Dude.
hit you up first, and I was like, "Fuck, I didn't write him a song." And then that
Dude.
night,
Yeah, Shane, you have serious talent. We actually played one of Shane or two of Shane's songs on the last
yeah, in the
episode
last
of the Deep End.
episode,
Hell
go
yeah.
subscribe to the Deep Share
On the
Patreon.
Yes.
Yes,
Now, how did you start that?
the
How'd that come up?
Patreon. Oh man.
Your
Well, the
deep share.
Patreon.
The
Oh,
Deep
the Deep
Share.
Share. Yeah, man. So I've just been surfing through revisionist history and UFO stories and psychedelics, all kinds of alternative conspiracy stuff since I was 17,
Okay.
back in 2000, 2001. So
You were just always interested in it, or
always
did something?
interested in it
Okay.
and always looking for some creative outlet over the years and kind of
Mhm.
trying things and failing or not really putting my whole heart into them and
Right.
it's like, nah, it doesn't feel right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this just kind of happened as like a fan of podcasts. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because I started talking to Mark and talking to Sam and uh, Ryan Dean from Dangerous World, a couple of these guys, legit bat. And I just communication. Like I used to try to reach out to every kind of artist I was listening to over the years, even musicians, you know, like Periphery. I used to talk to Misha back in the day
No
on
shit,
music
dude.
boards all the time because he was just talking to everybody because he wasn't
Yeah.
like fucking busy all the time, you know. He was busy, but so eventually I was just like, I gotta start my own shit. And then yeah, I started getting into it. I got lucky by just having a conversation with Ryan Dean and he had me on his show. So
Hmm.
luckily I had a little bit of a not a following, but like someone had heard, you know,
Yeah.
the word was out a little bit, you know. So I got
Right.
in with some good other podcasters to show me the ropes early on. And yeah, it's been like almost 3 years, I think. I don't
Okay.
remember. But yeah, it's been fun. And I was gonna say a lot of the best interviews I've ever done, I feel, I did them after going through like 2 hours of talking to my wife about how I don't want to do it tonight. I just don't feel like
Hmm.
podcasting. I just got home from 10 hours of working and I just want to relax with you and the kid. I don't want to do any of this. Like talking myself out of like just work, just like focus.
Uh-huh.
Oh, not even work.
Yeah, dude.
Focus, like you were saying.
Focus. Yeah.
And my wife would, you know, talk me back into it. And then I'd have those interviews and they would be the best ones I've had
Yep.
like all month, you know? It was very interesting how it's like that anxiety, that build up, that trying to put it off, like somehow
trip.
set off a firework or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is. I've had that same experience numerous times with this.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
unanimous. The more I mention it to other podcasts, like, oh, yeah.
Oh, for
It's
sure,
like
man.
everybody has their own lives, you know? It's just like hard
Well, this
to.
isn't our full-time job, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
fucking
don't make any
tired, bro.
fucking money from this,
Wow.
dude.
Yeah,
I, don't,
and so
I spend money on this podcast.
well, you know,
I love
also
doing it, you
I've
know. So I'm
been
not bitching at all.
yeah, I'm not bitching either. It is
But
fun, but
that's why I
it's
only have 30 episodes out in 2 years.
fucking slacker.
Dude, that's why I've been doing the show with Andy, because we're staying on each other's ass.
Yeah, this is fun. Like I'm putting out way more content, even aside from our talks, just because we have this consistency
Yeah,
going.
dude.
So,
Right. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a workout buddy, man. For real.
Yeah, man. And it
helps.
just works out this
Fucking
way.
real, man. They're so hard to
It's
find.
either you have somebody that's gonna help, you know, push you like in that way and be positive, or you have competition that's gonna drive you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
right.
but yeah, having a workout buddy is great, man. Somebody to kind of like, oh shit, I said I was gonna do this, and Shane's watching. He's waiting for this next episode. Fuck. All right, I got to do it. Okay. You know.
Yep.
I think
But then
it
you
would be
feel good after you do it. You're like, oh hell yeah!
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
I did it. I was accountable.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And the more, and honestly, yeah, people should read people like Jocko more often
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
like
some Jocko.
I'm just like I haven't thought about him for years, and then you brought him up. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
yeah, that guy is the most motivational dude ever. And it makes you
Bro.
really feel like you need to be more responsible for yourself,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's well, there's a lot of, years ago, before social media and before smartphone stuff, whatever, and the internet, you couldn't really, like, if you didn't know someone in your personal life that was like that could help motivate you or whatever, you didn't have a good role model. It was very difficult to get that. Like you had to be a self-starter. Like
Yeah.
somebody in your group, you kind of had to like, okay, I got this. It was rare. It was rare too.
Yeah.
If you weren't part of like a group, like a team, like a football, some kind of sports team, or military, or something that kind of drew these kind of people together that were kind of motivated, and you go, okay, yeah, I can. You latch onto each other, like, hey, let's help each other work out, or let's stay consistent with this, or whatever. You didn't really have a whole lot of access to that, and now, bro, go follow. I remember somebody said to me a while ago, like, I said, "What do you guys think about switch it?" This is months and months ago. What do you guys think about switching from Instagram to Twitter for airsoft stuff because of Instagram? Shadow ban, like banning all your shit, and people were getting canceled and stuff. And so, and they were all like, "Oh no, Twitter's so toxic." And I said, "Well, Twitter itself can't be toxic. It's who you
No,
choose to follow. There's a shit ton of motivational stuff on there, bro. Go
absolutely.
follow a bunch of, meditation and nature, and man, there's some beautiful, beautiful pictures and videos and peaceful, calming things. There's educational stuff. There's like, hey, words of affirmation, like all kind of shit you could follow that is super positive. But
Right.
whatever you choose, and you don't get rid of those weird suggestions they give you, and say, nope, I don't like that. Like you can cater it.
Yeah,
You can use
man.
it to your benefit, but there's so many different ways you can go, hey, I want to see Jocko, showing a picture of his watch at 4:30 in the morning with fucking sweat already, okay,
Hell
dripping on
yeah.
it. Um, that's what he does, man. I see that picture. Some days I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm motivated. And other days I'm like, God damn it, because I don't feel like it.
Right.
Oh
Right.
yeah, dude.
I mean, it's so crazy. You think like we should all be getting up with the sun.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just seems so natural.
Yep.
But we've built a whole world around just going against nature,
minutes,
really. Yeah, minutes and everything. Oh, yeah,
seconds.
of course.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, this room I'm in now. So this office, I don't even have the other light on, so it's really dark. So this whole wall, let's see. Okay.
Hey, there's the airsoft gun.
Yeah. So this is to my left. So I'm here. Okay. So this wall is this a bedroom? This used to have a giant window in it, like it's supposed to. I blocked it out because it was, the sun goes back here, and I'm in South Carolina, and that sun goes right over the tree, and it's like the back of the house gets sun for like 10 hours, okay, of the day. So it gets hot as fuck.
Yeah.
So I put curtains over here. It didn't work. It was just so hot in here, and especially when I was recording stuff in here. So I walled it up.
Hell yeah.
So I mean, I'm sitting in here. Speaking of, getting up with the sun and knowing what time, I I have no clue what
Block
time
that
it is.
motherfucker
Right.
out.
That's
I
why you
don't.
need to do the work, right? It's like
Yeah, I got the door closed. Like there's no. I have no idea what time it is outside. I can't see any light at all. I
true.
don't know if it's light or dark. Sometimes when I do these podcasts, we'll talk for a few hours. Like there's been a
Mhm,
couple of them that were like 4 hours, over 4 hours long. So
mhm.
That's awesome.
I go off and I get off and I'm like, and I really don't know while we're talking. I don't really pay attention, and then I go, oh shit, like it's fucking 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, when I came in here, it was kind of light out.
Right, right, yeah.
So,
Sometimes go outside like, oh shit, I time traveled.
bro, for real.
Dude, I love those conversations.
Well,
You guys
listen,
want?
what you said something earlier about a Luciferian. Now,
Sure, yeah.
obviously, it's
We mean that very loosely, of course. I don't mean like
yeah.
necessarily.
Is that like a is that a thing like or is that just the main reference to Lucifer or whatever? But is there
So
like a belief system on there?
Yeah.
Is there?
technically there is a belief system. It's absolutely different than like Church of Satan and all that.
Okay.
But there's similarities, of course. I think in the bigger, broader picture, it's very similar ideals. Both have like I would, and I just talked to Ian Ferguson about this. I'm not sure when. I'm gonna try to put both episodes out today. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
anyway, this conversation with Ian Ferguson, he goes into this a lot. He's a wealth of knowledge in this area about history and consciousness and everything, and I love it. And he kind of breaks this down into this dichotomy of this Molochian versus Luciferian. You got Moloch versus Lucifer. And the reason why I wanted to talk to that guy so bad was because for a long time now, I've been kind of developing this old way versus new way uh, terminology about things. And as I'm listening to him on Tinfoil months ago, I told this on the podcast with Ian, but like I literally had to stop the fork truck at work. I got off, I started like scribbling down notes because I'm like, I gotta talk to this fucking guy. I gotta talk to
That's
him.
awesome.
Because like he's describing these characteristics of these two groups like identically to how I'm putting this old and new category. And it's much more detailed with what he's doing, you know, it has a lot more detail involved, but both have a lot in common, but they're different. You know, one is very old school, old. I don't know. I'm going to butcher it in the way that he does it, but like the Luciferian stuff is very new age, new world, new technology. And it's that word new is absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
Because this goes back to the beginning of the 20th century.
Nothing new under the sun.
Liberal psychologists that were fucking invading education on all levels in the early 20th century and invading psychology itself and science itself. All these fuckers were using this word new on purpose. And they were like, we like this word new. We like, you know, the new this of Roosevelt, or the new this of, that was Walter Lippmann of, he basically created modern media. And it's such a rabbit hole. It's such a rabbit hole, but I've done some killer episodes recently with some great people who have dove into this, like basically done forensic investigations of the 20th century, tracing back the roots of like progressivism. And of course, you know, you can only cover so much ground, right? So many angles, but it's like, as the roots of progressivism are shown to me, I'm seeing all like the roots of the counterculture as well intertwined. I'm seeing the roots of psychedelica. I'm seeing like all these things that are kind of coming out of the same place. And it's like, it's a lot of occult stuff. It's all of that. And it's just, it's a mind-bending situation.
You can also take it to a completely not mundane, crazy place. And technically, we're all Luciferians because we're taking part in the Lucifer experiment, which is duality of God. You know, we are all here in existence. It's my perspective varies, so it's hard for me to say away from God, but at least the illusion of being separate, and that is the Lucifer experiment, not being one singular thing, God.
I think that's beautiful.
You know, so technically we're all Luciferians because we're here.
Because when that's perfect, man. Because if you look at the story of Lucifer,
got a lot of stuff you have to fucking look up, dude.
Think about that, man. Like the fall of Lucifer and his rebellion against the throne and everything. It's such a, when you look at it from that perspective, it does become such a beautiful metaphor for this, like this falling from grace, right? And it really is a falling from grace, but that sounds so negative, but it's basically saying you went from up to down. You know, it's saying like grace is this unity, this oneness, this one with everything, but you wanted to, I don't know, I guess, it's too hard to put it.
You wanted to fucking play on your phone.
To be human, right? Yeah.
Well, my question always was, why, if God is so all-knowing and, you know, he knows the future and all this kind of stuff, whatever, omniscient about everything, why is he, so Satan, right, Lucifer gets cast out of heaven. Where does he get cast to?
The
earth.
the earth.
He's the master of Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
The lower vibrational beings.
And then
serpent was cast to slither upon the earth.
that was well before God created Adam and Eve, right? So why did he create Adam and Eve on Earth with this dude if it's so bad?
Think about who told Adam and Eve that he created them.
I heard this guy
from fucking Babylon.
Yeah. I heard this guy. It was on like the confessionals or something, but he was saying like, Lucifer like volunteered to be, the dark one or whatever, the one to be casted out, so God could have this experience. He was God's best angel. He was his right hand man. So he was like, "I'm there for you, God."
That's wild that you say that. Just because
that blew my mind.
Man, I wrote a paper in college saying that Lucifer was a prototype of Jesus. For it.
Oh shit!
But I did get an A.
Hell yeah!
It was an interesting idea, but just like as a philosophical experiment,
Yeah, no, that's wild to think about though.
And those archetypes exist all over, of course. It's part of the hero's journey. Right.
Yeah, that I remember years ago. I can't remember who told me about it. One of my buddies told me about it. And it wasn't on any kind of. This is before it was actually. I think you can look it up on Netflix now, but it was well before that. But you can only find it on a website, the Zeitgeist movie.
Yeah, man.
And when I saw that, bro. Now listen, you got to understand. I grew up Catholic. Okay, then I went in the military.
Right.
Now listen, I was hardcore Catholic. I believed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had some doubts because like 12 years old, I started getting very curious because of my personality type. I don't like to just follow an order without knowing why. So my mom got so tired of me asking why. I'm like 5, 6, 7 years old, and that continued most of my. And still, I'm still like that. So I was like, well, I'm not getting the answers from my parents. I'm not getting the answers from the priest or whatever, like all these teachings. And I'm going, why? And I had so many questions, bro. Like early on, I remember asking when I first, so I decided to start reading the Bible on my own at like 12 years old. Okay. I'm not bragging about that. I really just had questions. I didn't know where to start. I started in the beginning. So I read Genesis, I don't know, the beginning of like the creation stuff over and over and over and over. And I'm going to tell you, it's about the 10th time. It was before I turned 13. It was when you get to the part where all the genealogy, where they just start naming all this from this person from this person, this from, and it hit me as a kid going, oh, all these people came from Adam and Eve? Well, who did they have sex with? Like, and this thing, oh my God. I was horrified. I really was, because adultery is, or not adultery, incest is so forbidden. And then I'm going, wait. And I remember one of the first questions I asked my mom was that, like, why? Well, I mean, if he's smart, why didn't he just create another pair of people?
At least, man, come on.
I was just like, bro, what happened? And so, it started me on a journey that never stopped, to be honest.
Right.
It really hasn't. And so I'm very open-minded. I wasn't, but I'm very open-minded with different theories and stuff, because I'm not of the belief that the Bible, I don't believe that the Bible is the inerrant word of God, like a lot of Christian, non-denominational Christians teach. I think that's really naive to think that, when we know how. Look at the past 10 years. Like, you see what governments, how they portray information and force feed you information. And now 1,000 years from now, people find all these different things and they're going to go, oh, all this stuff was, this was real. This wasn't, bro.
Well, it's interesting too. I dig into mythology and folklore very, very deeply, and I cross-reference it often with like people that study history on a deep level, and Yeah, that's who I'm drawn to often to find out what lines up with what. And more times than not, you find that first of all, the oldest anthropology records we really have are all kind of entrenched in that folklore as real events in a way, a simplification of events. And an interesting way, there's a million ways to look at the Bible, which is crazy. The inherent word of God. I almost want to think that it absolutely is, but there's very, very many ways to just to feel as though it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this isn't coming from a Christian perspective whatsoever.
Right now.
Because I feel like Christians don't read the Bible correctly. No,
If at all.
None of us know.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different angles to it. There is if you follow the allegorical understanding of the Bible, it does add up to so much truth in internal experience and consciousness. And on another level, we talk about those lineages. That's like, oh, it's incest. What's going on? And some people go, well, that's impossible. That two people, blah blah blah. Yeah, no shit. But what they're really talking about is like bloodlines, all across the board. So all the people they're fucking that don't matter, that can't carry on that bloodline, they're not mentioning in that book. And the more I look into history, into deep history and cross-reference from different languages, which I'm obsessed with now, is etymology and where words come from and everything.
Right.
And which you got to be real careful and walk a fine line and use a lot of discernment, because you can easily fall into like word pareidolia and puns.
What is that?
Where it's like you just assume that one word must be attached to another one because of the phonetic, which isn't always the case.
Okay.
They could be related in a very obscure way. Yeah, it's very Bach saga, and that's why
you gotta hear about that, bro.
Oh god, yeah,
Bach saga is fucking insane. I was gonna say, look up Andy's other podcast, Roots of Creation, bro.
Oh god, I only have 2 episodes on that though.
And that one, look up, just search Andy Rouse Bach saga in a podcast thing and just listen to all these episodes.
I would say we can send him a link that's more equipped than, I mean, I appreciate that people have me on to spread the word sometimes, but at the same time, I think I always point them to like Jim Chesner's documentaries on YouTube and shit, because holy crap, I blank out when it comes to a lot of the language examples, because it really is hard to keep this shit in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you give like a nice, really understandable, like summed up, like, yeah, it takes like 2 hours to give a short version of it.
Oh my god, yeah.
But you do a good job of it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Try.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's insane, dude. It's
like it takes every alternative history theory that like people allude to and there's some anecdotal evidence, but there's never really any proof. A lot of conspiracies and stuff. It kind of takes that, and at first glance this will sound pretty arrogant and phony, but it's fucking, oh my god, it takes all those ideas and fits them all, including real history and straightforward history, into this perfect story. And what's crazy about it is it's backed up by this fucking root language that makes sense on so many levels, including a mathematical fractal level where I can't even go too far into it, but the craziest part that I've learned most recently from a person that knows very well and knows these people firsthand, that there's over like 1,200 to 2,400 or something people living in South Finland who still speak this root language and know why they still speak this root language. And this is basically, the Bach saga is an oral story that is, according to them, passed down since the beginning of humanity.
Holy shit.
There's so many different areas to give it credit, but then there's so many areas where you kind of have to either suspend disbelief and just hold it there and focus on what does fit, because otherwise you kind of have to reference mainstream geology and archaeology and things like that. And of course you run into people are just going to laugh you away when you ask any of those kinds of questions. Like those fields are currently impenetrable, in my opinion, when it comes to this very ancient pagan information.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
know,
the craziest part for it for me is like just the language part where phonetically, like if the way you pronounce, I don't know which one to use
pronounce, yeah,
which word. Um, like if you
pronounce.
pronounce it, like if you say tomato instead of tomato, like somebody can tell if you're lying. Like,
Yeah.
you
Telling
know,
the
if
Box Saga they don't like they
can't
basically
tell.
claim that that English. So I'm sorry, Shay, I didn't mean to
No, no,
cut you
no,
off.
no, no. I just you go.
I feel like a jerk. Uh,
No, I'm
they kind of
stupid.
claim that English is like a mishmash result of this root language in a way.
Yeah.
Um, and that English doesn't have pure sounds. Like the
Huh.
alphabet is kind of a reduction, which is interesting, right? Because we're talking about the old way that's been forgotten.
Yeah.
The old way is more do the work, right? And that's what
Right.
I was kind of putting. The new way is get to the shortcuts, right?
Yeah. Shortcuts.
Well, they're saying that English is like this very abbreviated everything. It's just ruined our connection to like nature and meaning and stuff like that. It's
Right.
crazy. Like for instance, they say that the first letter of the English alphabet, A, that is not one letter. That is not one sound. That is ah and e and e, like all these like these three
Yeah.
root sounds
Yeah.
put together. And so it's interesting when we have for years and years and years so many conspiracy theorists talking about English being a coded language and giving a lot of interesting examples. And if it gets religious at all, it'll point back to like Egypt, Babylon, Sumer, the typical beginning of occult
And they
information.
call it
Uh-huh.
Nobody
spelling.
talks about Bach Saga. Nobody's familiar with this Alphernus Beton, which is the alphabet.
Huh.
That yeah, it's nuts. It's
Oh,
that's
that's
where I'll
wild.
stop.
No, I
I don't
never heard of
want
it.
a total Bach Saga episode or anything, but yeah, that's a rabbit hole. But
Okay, so
for me, it
when
was a
when was your
undoing of the rabbit hole as well.
yeah? So as you started delving into just conspiracy theories in general, uh, it did it lead to more and more and more over the years?
First,
Like,
yeah, for a
okay,
long time.
now did it convince you that some of these other ones that were you maybe you heard of but really didn't think about, but then as you start getting into it, these other all of them they start building up. You're like, oh wait, if this is true, well what about this one? And then you start delving into it. Now, did it? So if you had a list of all the top, I guess, popular conspiracy theories, right? If we went down a list,
Mhm.
could you say, yeah, I believe this one. No, don't believe that one. Okay, so like aliens.
I'll have to mostly say no because I have a lot more to say about no than I would with yes. But I would like to just say one quick thing. It's interesting, like when you look at it from like a just getting into conspiracy theory, you
Yeah.
look at the most wild shit as like, okay, well that stuff's way out of town. But
Yeah.
of course, there's a lot of like political stuff, economics. You start from the ground up. But the thing is that crazy shit is just the third act of the movie, and it's as if you've just begun the movie, and then we're shown the climax. And one of the moments in the climax, you're like, whoa, 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 that doesn't fit here. That's out to lunch. That's way too. That doesn't. Whoa, I don't know what's going on there. It's
Yeah.
foreign. But as you go through and get, I would say, desensitized. Once you get desensitized and you stop trusting things.
Yeah.
Once the repetition is you can't trust that either, and and you have to jump over these hurdles, and the hurdles are you're just being paranoid. Oh, you're getting more paranoid. Listen to your brother, listen to your friend, like you're becoming crazier. Those are the hurdles.
Everyone's an agent.
Because the thing
Matrix.
is,
Yeah.
there is a lot of truth to a lot of it's almost like most conspiracy theories that I would on the list say no to are only no because there's an element of it that they're distracting from. Like Pizzagate. There's a lot of shit about Pizzagate that is false. It connects one person to like a basement or a pizza place to a basement when it's actually a person associated with the pizza place that had the basement. Like it's
Yeah.
all off, and the conspiracy builds this fake narrative that a lot of good people that are just asking questions, questioning authority correctly,
Yeah.
fucking run with because they start planting flags in anecdotal evidence of things,
Controlled
just
op
like
too.
mainstream people do with their mainstream media and politics. That was longer than I expected it to be.
And then there's, controlled opposition where, the fancy alphabet letter organizations like to plant people in,
Yeah.
movements and everything and start riots and
Coups, yeah, shaping communities, shaping operations where they kind of like guide a community towards certain
Yep.
ideals, not necessarily false ones all the time, but leading people to believe
be
they're helping
skewed.
build something beautiful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like Lucifer, don't it? Like, it just mythologically speaking, like whether they're mimicking it or not, like, hey, it sounds pretty spot on, Hey, I can show you the world. I'll literally offer you the whole fucking world on a silver platter, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's jump into some crazy shit. So I
Yeah,
had
let's jump into some
this
crazy shit.
guy. I've never heard anything bad about him. I like the guy. Me and him got along real good. We had a great conversation. Matt Landman,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Sparrow Gear. He makes like Faraday clothes. So it's silver line clothes. So the EMF frequencies and shit can't harm your body.
Right.
He can tell you all about it. But he was telling me a story about one of his military friends. Um, he was in for like a while. He was, like 10 plus years. And when he got out, he was pretty dull. He didn't do like I guess he didn't have any like PTSD he was describing from any like combat or anything, I don't think. At least he didn't tell me about any of that.
Yeah.
But one day he said he got some like really good fucking like organic weed
Mm.
and he smoked it and like he said like color flooded back into his eyes and like he was eating like they were having like a roast or something. I can't remember what they're eating, but like when he ate it, like he could taste it and like it fucking he said it like he could like it just like he could never taste before.
Hmm.
And like he had this like mental breakdown where he had to stay in a closet for like a week because he couldn't believe that he like was seeing in black and white and like couldn't taste anything. And so apparently he was saying there was like some like fluoride release shit on his teeth and like all the vaccines that they give him and shit would like dulled all of his senses to, just make you a killer. And I can totally see that, dude. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, man? Did you notice any? Did they have to fucking pump you up with a bunch of shit back in the day? Did you never notice like
Yeah.
after like you did didn't you say you did peyote or ayahuasca or something?
Uh-huh.
Did you notice that like flip a light on for you? I mean, obviously that would for most people anyway.
Yeah, it definitely
Like,
flipped the light on. The taste stuff. Actually, I mean, after the military, I didn't have my taste until probably like 7 years ago,
holy shit,
6 years ago.
bro,
And
that's
this was, do you think,
No,
fucking
I'm not kidding,
real.
man. I could mix all my kids, my wife, people at work. I would literally mix a can of tuna. You could dump a can of tuna with the juice in there, cottage cheese, yogurt, vegetables. I'd stir
Bro.
that shit up, eat it. Spaghetti. I don't care. Like just dump everything in. It all tasted the same to me.
that's another
The,
YouTube channel.
for real, man. Like I mean, I can still do it today. The only things that really are that I could really notice a difference were the things that were really strong. So like a raw onion,
Uh-huh.
raw garlic, horseradish, something that's really pungent smell and taste. Like that's gonna
Yeah.
hit you. That for sure. I ate this when I was in Korea. I ate this raw squid.
Uh-huh.
Oh, bro.
Oh.
And I like seafood. I like seafood. But this thing, it was a baby. They're babies. They're just like it's like they serve them kind of like we eat sardines or whatever. You used to eat
Uh-huh.
Right.
sardines. So they're just in this little pack. Whatever. You just open it up. Smells like the ocean. seawater,
Yep.
and just real fishy smell. And they're little white, kind of clearish, little squids, little ball on the end, little, tentacles. Just pop in your mouth, and that thing when you bite on it, pops.
Oh,
Oh,
And it was it was the strongest fish taste I've ever tasted, and it
oh,
was so strong, like it just permeated through your nose. And then when you take a breath after you bite it, it just, I mean, it's in you,
oh
bro. Like it is so
man.
strong. Okay. It
Oh
is. We
shit.
also ate snake in Korea, and drank snake's blood. So they give you a shot of snake's blood. It's not a full shot. It's just this real tiny little, pottery kind of cup that they drink out of. And they're like over there, their tea, like in Okinawa and in Korea, they drink when you get a drink, like when you sit down in a restaurant, there's no chairs. You sit on a pillow, cross-legged. There's a table right there that's that low. They bring a little tea thing. The teapot's like this tiny. It ain't
right.
American sized, okay? It ain't super sized. You know what I'm saying, and the little cups are like that. They're like, and it's just like that. So the shot glass of snake's blood. So we drank snake's blood. It's like they believe in consuming the spirit of the animal kind of thing. So it was really cool. But there's only been a few things that I've eaten that since I got in the military that really I could taste. Everything else, honestly, it doesn't care. Like I don't care. My buddies are always like, "Man, you ever go to this place over here?" I'm like, "No, I mean, is it good? I don't know." And he's like, "Here, taste this." And so we go to lunch, and he's like, we get this really good like meat and this and that whatever, and he's like, "Taste this one." I'm like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Taste this one." I'm like, "They're the fucking same, bro. I don't know."
Mhm.
Um, but now my mind was opened with peyote and then acid,
Yeah.
um, opium. We had opium over there in Okinawa, but my mind really opened up. Peyote was I did have an experience with it, but bro, I was so nauseous the whole time.
Yeah.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
But acid was probably my favorite drug,
It's easy to
hands
love.
down.
So
Cheap.
easy to love.
It's so easy. Like you don't have to consume anything that's gross. You don't have to
Yeah.
choke it down. You don't have to drink gallons of alcohol. Like you don't have to. This little white blotter, bro.
Magic, dude.
Tap.
Don't even
Okay,
taste
we'd
anything.
get 3 hits,
Liquid.
right? 15. They were $5 a piece. All right, we'd get to Mission Beach in California, head to Tijuana, and spend the night in Tijuana, just fucking blown out of our minds, bro. And it's awesome. Very little hangover if you don't drink too much on it. I mean,
You
bro.
can drink on it
But
too.
yeah, and you can drink on it. But
Yeah, dude.
that's where I really it really started opening my mind a lot.
Yeah,
Was that?
that's
So
awesome.
you did notice like when you can remember being a kid and like shit like you could taste the flavor.
Oh, for sure. My mom's Italian, bro. Like
Yeah,
100%.
wow,
She made
dude.
homemade Italian noodles and her spaghetti sauce would take 8 hours all day. She taught my sisters how to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a
That's
friend
awesome.
Um,
whose mom was the same way. She'd be
oh,
just have something was cooking all day long.
all the time.
If I was there, if I was in the vicinity, I was getting roped in, which was great.
Yes.
That was
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Funny that you
Yeah.
mentioned the snake's blood too. My friend was a Marine and he was stationed in Okinawa,
Mm.
and he had some stories. He definitely ate those squids. He definitely sent us home pictures of the little tuna can things where they came in.
Yeah.
But he also came home to visit us one Christmas and brought us home as a gift this big ass. It looked like a 40 ounce, like a 40. And
Holy
but
son.
it was sake, and it was
Oh shit.
Habu sake from the island
Bro.
of Habu
Did it
with
have the snake in it?
a
Yeah.
little poisonous Habu
Whoa.
snake at the bottom, just
Yeah.
and we all would take shots of it. We took shots of that for like 20 years, I think. I think my buddy still has the rest of it.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
That
Yeah,
is
or no,
awesome.
I think it's progressed. I think the story has gotten way weirder since then. I think maybe the bottle broke on accident, poured all over everything.
Oh shit.
Near the end of the bottle, at least.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
not much left after all those years.
Right.
I want to say he probably tried to eat the snake because he's a total crazy person.
That
Man,
when I first mentioned that on one of my podcasts with somebody, it was another military veteran on here, and I said that about Habisaki. They were a lot younger. They hadn't gone to Okinawa. They went to the desert,
yeah.
And I said, bro, Habusaki, and they were like, what? And so I pulled up a picture of it, and just big jars, just like what you're talking about with the fucking snake in there, bro. And he was like, whoa, what? I was like, yeah, you know how tequila has the worm, bro.
Yeah, or the scorpion.
Right.
These
These guys,
too.
they know how to do some shit. Oh, you got a little worm? Oh, that's so cute. You got that little worm in there. Look at this snake.
Fucking snake, bro.
We have a sand.
What is why? What is the catch? Like, why is that's just their gimmick? Like, yeah, we put a fucking
No, it's
snake
spiritual.
in there, bro.
Like you're saying, man, this is a spiritual tradition.
Habu is
Yeah.
very, very highly poisonous, and they're aggressive. They're one of the few snakes that will actually chase you. Not like, oh, you're running and it'll chase you. Like, it will go out of its way to come at you.
Oh,
so, if you piss it off.
It's
So
like
most snakes, 99.9% on the planet, you snap, rattlesnakes, all the poisonous snakes, most of them go away from you, okay? Yeah. They'll give you a warning, or they'll go away from you unless you step right on them or on their babies or something like that. Sea snakes are highly poisonous. Me and my buddies were standing in Okinawa in the coral, ankle deep, black and white ringed sea snake swam right between our legs, goes out. They're highly poisonous, but they're very, they're very docile. They're not aggressive. Habus, and there's a couple others on the planet that you've probably seen on what was that Steve Irwin show, right?
Yeah,
that will chase you.
I was watching.
Crocodile hunter.
Crocodile hunter, man. So yeah, Habus are, but they're a big part of Okinawa, and so they make that Habusaki. It's like it's pretty cool.
It's that warrior thing, that drinking the blood of the serpent, and of course, where my mind goes is to the history. And it's like, oh, this serpent. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's the draconian bloodline. It's the dragon bloodline. It's fucking crazy, man. And I don't think even their great-great-grandparents know that. You know what I mean? It's so, this bloodline shit is so far removed from like understood history and even like oral stories at this point. The oral stories have become folklore and mythology, because we use these words in a different way these days.
Well, let me ask you this, Andy. If do you think that there's all the things you're talking about and what you've learned and stuff, things that used to be really important and taught to families and stuff, like what you just said, like bloodlines, language. Do you think that there is power in bloodlines and in like the root language? Like, do they have a certain power? Maybe that's why English language is so watered down.
I think the Bach saga would be very much in line with a number of other hypothetical theories about ancient times. Even a lot of stuff that people like Graham Hancock and a lot of his copycats and people that are very similar explorers and stuff like that, they often show us how the older the monuments, like the more sophisticated they are, and like underneath the rubble of some monument that we're already considering very ancient and very holy lies even more rock, even more sophistication, larger, like deeper underground. And it's like these places are used over and over again, but the progression is going in a downward way, in a sense. So I think there is a lot of What was the question about power? Sorry, I lost.
Yeah, the like words, like how like
Yes,
I guess
absolutely. Words
they
are
call them
spelling,
curses or whatever, but
Curses,
like you see these
spelling.
old things where they say spells, or they I know we've modernized it, like, oh, look at Harry Potter, you read this little spell and twist this little stick and it does this thing. But
Hollywood
if
shows
there
us
is
magic.
real power in words, and I think there is.
Yes.
I mean, most books talk about it from
in many
ancient.
different ways too. You know, there's manipulation, there's sleight of
Well, that's
hand,
true.
there's
That's true.
distraction, there's
Yeah,
inversion.
power is a really broad word, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
for good, like in like if we're talking like in a magical sense, I'm not the one to ask, but at the same time, I do believe that where these magical practices come from, I think they come from a more logical place, actually. I think in the alternative community, we're kind of pushed towards thinking that regardless of the details, we all kind of glom into this thing where the past was also more magical. Maybe it was more technological. Maybe it was more like literally like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, like magical. Like there's a lot of different categories, but that's kind of the overall feeling. But I think even before that period, or maybe that period is being looked at in the wrong way. I think it actually comes from a much more logical understanding. Like when you look at the decoding of biblical stories with astrology, like astrotheology and stuff,
I was gonna
and
say
you
something
start
about that.
to decode what the stories all meant. They're all like allegories to kind of be an instruction manual, a very logical, like, do this when the stars are here, like time to put the reins on the bull and plow the field at this time, like all these
Yeah.
very down to earth logical
Practical.
meanings. That doesn't negate as above so below, right? As within so without. These concepts do probably have I can't really explain them very well, but like a parallel in a more spiritual place in our
Gotcha.
lives, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I think when we're talking, once again, when we're talking about mythology, religion, and folklore, I think we if we put it all into allegorical like that pen, then I think
Mhm.
that's wrong too. It's
Yeah.
just the way we take it materially is crazy, because you know, like you got the atheists, which I was one time.
Okay.
I was all about how obviously stupid this magical guy in the clouds is. And you
Yeah,
know,
same.
George Carlin, right?
Yeah.
He was a big voice that spoke to that
Right.
criticism, you know. At least in modern times, they've always been there.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
because of that, it's like a lot of people throw the baby out with the bathwater and they go, oh, so religion, and for such good reason, religion's the cause of so much shit. And then you can look
Yes.
at the Vatican, as evil as they are.
Uh-huh.
You look at Vatica, the serpent goddess of, you know, some
Exactly.
pagan tradition, you know, there's so much there that's just,
I've
you know,
gone on that
a lot of that
same.
free thinker atheist movement leaves out entirely and doesn't even
Yeah.
talk about, like Joe Rogan and his whole gang of clowns, you know.
You can flip it to the other side too with like Christianity, because even when I was a Christian, I had this perspective of like, oh, you know, like miracles, that's only something in the Bible that happened. You know, miracles
Like a
don't
long time
happen.
ago.
Yeah, miracles don't happen nowadays, you know, but like I have
Mm.
miracles happen to me all the time, you know, just like like even like meeting you, you know, like what are like, you know, like
The
how shit just
synchronicity, man.
always lines up, synchronicity, dude. Shit
Yeah.
always just like fucking works out somehow, and like just the way
Yeah,
shit happens
we
in your
don't
life.
call it that, right,
And we could
anymore.
even go into like ghosts and shit if we're, you know,
Hell
going,
yeah, why not?
you know, if you want to have proof of lack of a better word, other, you know what I
Right.
mean? That not
Yeah.
just like where you're just a human, when you die there's nothing, like, you know, atheist.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't.
to start
I'm stuck on that
right.
one. I'm really stuck on that one
Me
because
too.
I feel like
That's why.
I don't know. I don't know what.
I'm liking this because I don't often hear
So
that from people that have taken
I'm stuck
psychedelics.
on
So
the
I
ghost thing because, or you know, I can't figure out if I believe in ghosts or not, to be
Me
honest, because I
either,
don't
dude.
think that there's a spiritual realm where now I don't I believe there's a spiritual realm or could be, but I don't believe that there's one that where this thing inside of me, whatever this aura is, this spirit thing, whatever, is as I am. I think
Yeah,
it's energy, but I
yeah,
don't think it's conscious like me coming out as a ghost and going,
yeah, yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
what's
yeah,
up, dude? Oh
yeah,
yeah, I don't have
yeah.
my body anymore, but I could still see you, and I'm gonna watch over you." That's fucking creepy, but I'm just like, I don't know.
See,
that
I've
part
also
I'm
had
stuck on it. I don't
experience
know.
with
I don't have enough information.
I've
Okay.
also had experience with mediumships, and that was fucking crazy and weird and intense, and like I've took a mediumship class because I had a medium reading, and
Yeah.
like it was just so fucking accurate, and like just like even saying people's names, like would have absolutely not been able to guess a correct name. There's just no fucking way on the
That's
first
Right.
guess,
see, and that's
you
why I'm
know?
stuck.
And I
Yeah.
fucking took
Like
this
these kids
I
that
took this
speak
medium
a different
class and I was
language.
completely accurate. I like all I
Mm.
did was I basically felt like I was bullshitting myself. I was just saying literally whatever words came to my mind. I just
Yeah.
she brought me through like this like meditation state, and you kind of clear your mind, and then you just start fucking talking. And
Uh-huh.
like she was like, "Yep, yep." So
Well, that's the thing.
I
I've
don't
had
think she was
spiritual
bullshitting me,
experiences,
but like, yeah, dude, exactly.
but
What the
is
fuck?
that just is it a feeling? Okay,
But what
like is
is
it
the
just
feeling?
a
Where does the
feeling?
feeling come from?
Can I quote
I,
Dumbledore?
Uh-oh.
I do it a lot, but it always seems to be relevant when this conversation happens.
yeah.
When they're in the, have you guys seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you remember at the very end when Harry dies, kind of, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
goes to that place where Dumbledore's there talking to him, and then like the shriveled ego of Voldemort is under the bench. You know, it's this beautiful white place, and Harry asks Dumbledore, "Is this real or is this all just in my head?" And he was like, "Of course, this is just all in your head. But whatever gave you the idea that that it wasn't real?" And it was like,
Yeah.
oh man, when
That's
I
so
watched
true,
that, when I
though.
read that in the book for the first time, I was like blown the hell away, because it echoed like when I saw Pan's Labyrinth as well,
Uh
that
huh.
constant struggle of, is this real, is this not real, which way does this little girl have to get, what, does she trust the fawn, does she not? And then in the end it's like, oh, she does inherit the kingdom. But it was
Bro,
all,
that movie blew my fucking mind.
Goes
like
right
she
along
does
with my
die. She fucking dies
solipsism.
and her family loses her. Like the little girl dies, but she does inherit the. It's so twisty and cool. And I think that's where the paradox is, and that's
Yeah, that's
the
the thing. We're
kids
so
you
used to
mentioned. Oh
thinking
my
in
God.
finite terms, like you said earlier, like the atheist thing. I went through the same roller coaster of beliefs because growing up very hardcore Catholic, like I believed all this shit, and then I mean it's not shit. I'm just, and the thing is, most of these things are not taught. I don't think that most people teach their kids this stuff intentionally, knowing that it's a lie, or if it whatever, like it's
Right.
we don't know. But so I wasn't never like, I never felt like, oh, I'm mad at my parents, I'm mad at God, I'm mad at this, whatever. I was just on this journey, and I'm an explorer, right?
Mm.
And so I, I went through this stage after the military. Okay, I'm like, nah, there ain't no afterlife. Okay, atheist all the way.
Right.
Well, the thing was, here's what I'm getting at. I was so stuck on it's either this or that. There's no in
Hmm.
between,
Yeah.
that I said, oh, if then statement.
Hmm.
If I don't believe in an afterlife, then all that shit that I just learned growing up and in the Bible and nothing, all that shit's just bullshit. Okay, it can only be this, and it's only science and what we know right now, and there's no afterlife, and that's it. And then it started changing over years and years, and especially when I'm teaching my kids, I'm like, oh, sounds weird, bro. If I'm telling them like there's no afterlife, like I don't know. It's just,
Yeah,
I know
man.
we
How do you
hope.
tell your kid that? Like, hey, you're gonna be
I
fucking dead in like
Not when they
no
were little. I
existence.
was still hardcore Christian when they were little, but so they had some
Yeah.
good foundational beliefs. I mean,
I
good
think they are. Yeah.
general.
I
I
think
really
Yeah,
I
do.
really
they
like
really
good
are.
morals.
Right, absolutely.
It's
Well, then I
very.
went to a spot,
Yeah, go
years
ahead.
ago, like just a few years ago, where I was
Listen.
like, you know what? What if? What if none of that shit really matters? Like, what if it doesn't matter for me, if whether I believe it or I don't? If I follow these principles that were set out, let's say I say, you know what? The Bible's bullshit. Okay, it was written. It's not the word of God. It's whatever. But it's got some damn good principles in there that I could follow and actually be happy in life
Yeah.
because I follow these things. So I started opening my mind instead of getting this category A. If you don't believe this, then you have to believe this.
Right.
I'm like, no, no, no. So now I'm at this spot where I'm kind of in limbo, man. Honestly,
It's a good
just in the
place to
last
be.
like
Yeah,
year,
dude. Yeah.
That's the best
I
place to be.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to believing in God or believing in a good force. I don't know. Like I'm really stuck.
Something extra.
And I
Right.
don't feel frustrated. I feel really open about it. I feel good about it. But
It's
like I'm at
fun.
peace.
That's great
But
to
it's
hear.
I'm really like, okay, look, bro. There's got to be something. There's so many
Something.
things we
There's
don't
at
know.
least something.
Yeah.
And
Can't just be
yeah.
nothing.
Well, there's no such thing as nothing.
It's just a
Yeah, there's
word.
no such thing.
What's that? Have you guys ever seen a movie called I Heart Huckabees? I
No.
think I've
I
told
think
you,
you
Shane,
told me
you
about
have to
it.
watch it. We're gonna
Yeah, I
do
need
like
to
a
watch it.
commentary on it at some point. It's a sleeper. It's a sleeper because it just came
Okay.
out and it was a quirky, weird movie that no one really saw, but it was super existential. And there's this one
Nice.
moment where this character's just falling apart because of his life, and this is not working out, and nothing's okay, nothing's okay. And these two people keep going, well, if nothing's okay, then it's okay. If nothing's okay, then it's okay. And it's just this whole mantra thing. And it's very Eastern, it's very Buddhist in that sense, where
Uh,
when you think of there is no such thing as nothing, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's an inescapable thing, like even zero, right?
Right.
The debate, endless debate in math, whether zero is nothing or the source of all integers.
Right.
That comes down to belief. Right?
Right.
Where you got all your beliefs from, and it just falls apart again. It
Yeah,
fractalizes
no
again. You know?
shit.
I do have something to say to like anybody who's on the edge of like Christianity, like you're really questioning it, but you're scared that you're gonna be punished or go to hell
Hmm.
if you aren't don't call yourself a Christian.
Yeah.
Um,
We feel for you.
I had it like I had it. Goddamn, I'm
You
getting
got it,
tired.
bro. Preach.
Um, like if God is truly like all loving, like and you like still know in your heart, like there like we're saying, like there's some sort of higher power for lack of a better word,
Yeah,
and if it is all love, then if you're wrong, then it'll forget. Like, I don't believe in an eternal hell. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never experienced eternal hell here, which I mean, that's not. It's hard to make the bridge there, the comparison. Uh, but
well,
I
it's
don't know.
one of many
Nothing,
things, right?
nothing is eternal. Like besides existence, like there's nothing constant but change.
Right.
So like, there's like,
Right.
don't be scared. Fucking question, and you can always like go back. You can always repent. You know.
Right?
So I'm
It's the
not trying
prodigal
to
son.
pull anybody away from Christianity, but if you are the person that's scared to leave, but it does have all these questions and wants to.
Yeah.
That's where I was. I was stuck for a while. I was so confused. I was like angry at myself,
Mm.
and I've finally came to this conclusion. If it was really a fear thing. Once you get over the fear, it's it's all good, but God's gonna love you no matter what. So you
That was
good.
perfect.
Absolutely, man. Well,
So
listen, when
bad
I
at talking.
when when I started learning that too, I was like, man, okay, all these religions are a lot of them. They're just, especially Christianity, teaching out, especially Catholics, okay, teaching out of fear,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Like, bro, they're trying to make you do shit because you're gonna get struck down or you're gonna,
Mhm.
And then I was like, this is all bullshit. And then we had kids, and I go, ah. Now I know why they teach that way, because these little fuckers won't listen. Okay, we're gonna scare them into listening.
That's a big part of it. I think these people, these priests, these writers,
Yeah,
these
teach me how
people
to
that
do that. My
were
3-year-old doesn't care.
teaching this hell, they were also these are the people that are the ones that don't face their shadows and face their own inner. They're the ones that want to fucking take the shortcuts.
Uh-huh.
They've been
Yeah.
disguised as the old guard the whole time, and they're not. They're the new guard. Where
Yeah,
they're
they like that
lulling
power,
them in.
man.
It's crazy, yeah. And but the thing is, yeah, I think there's such beauty in it too. There is like this, a spiral of coming back around to it, but just in a new way, right? You like, because I didn't really grow up Christian, but my parents were very loosely kind of Christian.
Yeah.
That's where their roots were. That's, I mean, and from the boomer generation, that's, I mean, very
Sure.
typical anyway. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and you ask them too many questions and they fucking blue screen,
Blitz.
unless they took
That's a
acid,
good
right?
one.
Exactly.
Um, shit. What I was
Shit,
gonna-
even my dad
Reset,
fucking blue
reset.
screens. He took a shitload of acid. He didn't get nothing from it.
That's a
No
shame
way.
He
too.
did
Yeah,
not
that
pick up
happens a
the
lot
phone
too.
at all.
Like music felt groovier.
He's
It's
one
like,
of the people
how
that
the
didn't
fuck?
even hear the motherfucker ringing.
Right, right. It takes certain minds. It takes certain, be person.
Yeah.
My dad's wise. Like I'm like mature for like way above my age, I think. Like I'm 26 years old. Like I fucking have my own house. I fucking take care of my family. Like I fucking hold down the job. Like,
Fuck yeah.
I'm helping run the business. Like I don't, there's not too many fucking 26-year-olds out there. I'm not trying to talk myself up or anything.
No, no, but you are. You should. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
should.
You're
Well,
right.
you,
26. This
dude.
is all happening for people in their 30s now, where like they get their shit
Uh-huh.
together. Me
But
included.
like my dad's just so confusing. Like he's so fucking wise and like just knows like anything you need done, like he can fucking help you do it. And if he can't, he'll fucking know somebody that can. But like he has like great morals and like just anytime you deviate from what he thinks, man, it's just like he can't listen. He can't listen. He know how to
His way or
listen.
the highway.
His way or the fucking highway, and
Mm,
like he's like almost there with so many of this is like his spiritual views and
yeah.
everything, but it's just got the like the fear skewed in it.
Hmm.
It just fucking like he would be.
Control.
Oh my god, dude! Oh,
Control. And that's
I
a,
stop
saw.
being scared of shit, people.
Can you imagine?
I
I mean,
saw
my
a
God, you
movie.
have kids, Shane. The fatherhood thing. I have kids.
Yeah.
We all have kids here. Just that terror of knowing that you are their safety
Yeah, yeah,
is terrifying all the fucking time.
yeah.
I don't
Yep.
think that ever goes away, really. And think about what that does. You're just
Yeah,
the
it's
commander in a foxhole all the time.
God
yeah,
damn.
it's like it has gotten easier for me as a dad. Like my wife, well, it's gotten easier for her too. All of our kids are grown.
You
So my youngest,
grandpa.
yeah, my youngest one's 21. Yeah, and we're grandparents now. So when it was probably, you know, for me it was probably a few months after, if they would move, let's say my daughter moved out, it was probably about 6 months, maybe 3 months or so that I was like, where I was able to let go of, when I'm going to bed at night, like check, the habit of checking on her, kind of where is she, what time is she coming home? Oh wait, oh no, no, okay, and not worrying about that, and
Wow.
I'm like, okay, and then my
I can't even
wife,
fathom that right
I
now.
my
know.
wife was like, oh, I just want to text her every night, like make sure she's home okay after work or whatever it was, and I'm like, honey, I'm gonna let you do that for a little bit, but you're gonna have to start weaning yourself off because that, we're not gonna. You gotta let them grow up. You
Yeah.
gotta let them be, like, and it's not. I mean, it's good for us as parents too to start letting go,
Mhm.
right, and doing that. So you can still be, care about your child and not, as adult, when they're adults, and
Right.
not be hovering,
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point of successfully raising your kids, right? Because
right.
I'm sure some parents at your age with your kids' age are still terrified of what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Probably
Oh,
by
they get
their
on
own
that.
parenting fault.
What's that?
Right?
I360 or some shit like that where they follow each other and see where they're at all the time and shit.
Oh, I don't
Oh
know.
man, dude,
Or
they can like
what's it
see
called?
your fucking
iPhone?
location, dude.
Yeah, they can see your
See
location and
exactly where you are.
bro, they get notifications when their battery on their phone is low. So my daughter lives in Utah. One of my daughters lives in Utah. My wife and everyone in my family except for me and two of my sons are on iPhones. Me and
Mhm.
my other sons are on, we have Galaxies, whatever.
Yeah.
So they all have this tracking app thing. I forget what it's called. Oh, and it's touted as it's for safety because if you get in a car accident, we will get notified. I'm like, that's dumb. And they're like, well, what happens if you get in a car accident? I said, you're going to find out the old fashioned way. The fucking cop's going to knock on the door and say, hey, your dad's dead. Okay. Like, bro. And they're like, don't talk like that. I'm like, I'm just saying. Okay.
Like, what is the fucking notification gonna do?
Why?
Oh my God, Dad
Look,
got in a car accident. What the fuck are you gonna do?
what are you going to do? So now you're going to
Now you're
stress
just
out
extra
for
worried,
4
yeah.
hours before you can get to the hospital and see what's going on. Like, just don't know. Okay, ignorance is bliss sometimes. But anyway, yeah, my wife gets a notification
When
that my
somebody
daughter in
else's phone?
Utah, her phone battery is fucking at 8%.
That's fucking
And it says,
crazy.
and it pops up and says, tell Cassidy to charge her phone.
That's fucking weird, man.
And I go,
Your own
they're like
phone tells you when
trying
your
to talk
battery's
me
low.
into getting on that fucking app. And I go, fuck y'all. That's how they're going to, the next pandemic that comes out that's fake as shit, they're going to be like, they're going to put that app in their Apple phones or that notification saying, they didn't get a vaccine because they didn't enter in this thing. Tell your daughter to get the vaccine. Like, bro. And they all laughed at me. And I said, you watch. You fucking watch. They're telling you to charge your fucking battery.
They just saw how successful it was to get everybody to tattle on their neighbors, kind of, in a way, in a lot of
Yeah,
places
dude.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on in fucking? Well, it's a separate issue, but it's the same goddamn
Yeah.
agenda. The gender stuff, which was like some kid in Canada.
Oh
Like,
yeah, if you
and of course-
misgender someone, you can
happened?
go to
and
fucking
unfortunately,
jail.
it's always from a very
No way.
Christian perspective.
Yeah,
you
bro.
Can't even like turn your like atheistic friends onto this shit because it's always clouded with a god they don't believe in, unfortunately. And neither do I in the same sense, but like
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's so annoying. Like I find so many clips like that that's like, oh yes, this is so much truth. Fuck yeah. And they're like, and because of Lord Jesus Christ in my heart, I'm like, God damn it. Now I can't, there's like 30 friends I can't even try to show this to. You know what I mean? But like, sorry for that.
It's true. It's
Back
true.
to the point. And it's gone. Fuck, what was I gonna say?
They're
What was-
gonna fucking be putting.
Oh, the
us-
kid, yeah, the Canadian kid
Yeah.
like said something like, God made male and female, and he got arrested, and now his parents have been like fired from their jobs as well. And it's like, yeah, it's a gender thing. It's not the vaccines and the pandemic.
Right.
But
But
it's the
still, that
same
same.
divide and conquer. It's the same
Holy
hate your
shit,
neighbor,
bro.
hate every human next
Yeah.
to you that doesn't have this. It's
Yep.
that fascist regime shit. So it's
It is.
crazy to see that stuff and how
Well-
easily it could happen again. Maybe not as easily, but
I
they're
see
going to
these
come at
clips
you.
of.
They're going to come at us harder next time too.
Yeah. Well, the with the news and all that stuff, and I don't watch it, but if you're scrolling through, you see somebody post something, and the most, I guess, infamous or famous one was like a couple years ago when people started posting like the single shot of MSNBC, and they say this one sentence.
Right.
Then they show them and CBS, and they say the exact same thing. Then all these, and it keeps expanding out to all the different news networks around the world. And it just reminds me of that same thing, bro, what you're talking about. Like how, what's the V for Vendetta, right? When the
Yeah.
chancellor says, show them that they need us.
Right.
And then it's just news, bombings everywhere and terrorists, and you should be afraid of everybody, and look at your neighbor, he's going to kill you, right, if he's wearing this
Curfew.
kind of thing or looks like this. And bro,
Curfews. Yeah.
holy
dude.
shit, that's
Wow.
where we're
I
at.
have to go back and watch that movie. It's been a lot of
Dude,
long
that's such a
time.
good
and
movie.
Yeah, it
dude.
is so
probably
good.
so much more relevant.
So
these
good.
those
days.
those brothers
weird,
were
'cause those are Hollywood
fucking
movies, but-
genius with that shit.
Who were they? Who did that?
The Wachowski brothers.
Oh, the Wachowski sisters.
Yeah, the one sister.
Like,
Did they
what is-
both turn?
They're both, bro.
Is that a double
No!
unification ritual or
Yeah.
something? Like what? Like, I'm not trying to say that there's not independent people out there making these decisions for themselves, but
Yeah.
talking two major Hollywood directors that directed the fucking Matrix,
The
are now
Matrix.
not only like on board with the massive agenda of the fucking Mr. Smiths of the
Transhumanism.
world, but also
Bro.
like have become like it seems like a massive humiliation ritual of some kind. I don't know.
They've become Agent Smith.
Yeah.
Yes. You're a
Well,
virus.
speaking of the word they, this clip I saw yesterday said the reason, it was from a Christian lady, the reason that everyone this whole movement wants to take over the word they is it comes from Satan, because the only one that can be they is God. God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are they. And that word they is now being taken over. That's why they want their pronouns to be they. And I was like,
dude,
before I blew it off,
also
I really didn't blow it. I was like, there's some, that's kind of deep. Okay.
Bro, I also saw that the pride flag
Yeah.
is doing about the chakra system.
Yeah.
How
I don't know about it. I've heard the word.
Okay, so you have these energy centers in your body, but anyway, they start from red and they go up to purple through the color wheel.
Okay.
And the pride flag is that flipped upside down.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say I hate to say this because that is a powerful quote that woman said, but at the same time, they reminds me of We Are Legion.
Yo, Ghost Rider.
More than a fucking comic book, man. That's biblical shit right there.
Yeah, it
and
is.
I'm not trying to say oogie boogie monsters like horned
Right.
beasts from another dimension, because I think a lot of that's psyop as fuck. But they're talking about the monsters in your head, and they're trying to fucking tell you that they're But anyway. Yeah, that's
well.
That's
What are some good horror movies or scary movies that are kind of biblically based? Like the possession ones or whatever. Like, are there any good ones that actually, besides like the original Exorcist?
Man, that was a good one. I mean, just when it comes to like total entertainment, great horror movies, The Last Exorcism I thought was really good. It was mostly found footage, but it was not shaky cam or anything. It was just
it was pretty
documentary
good
style of this this priest turned atheist who was trying to disprove all of his former beliefs, and he went to like exorcise this young woman, and that one's good. But I would say even more than that for me would
really
be
good.
Which one?
The one you were just talking about, dude.
That one was the
I
last.
haven't seen it.
That was by
terrifying.
Eli Roth did that one.
He doesn't believe it at all. He does not believe it at all. He literally rigs the room to make it seem like it's a demon possession. Like he's got a speaker in there, like playing sounds. He's got fishing wire, moving shit.
And this is an ex-priest, an ex-exorcist. He was doing this and to show the world that these people were unfortunately going to be under placebo, and they were totally going to react to all of his tricks. But at the end, holy fuck.
Oh
my I won't spoil anything. But another one, if you haven't seen, this one scared the shit out of me, was The Taking of Deborah Logan.
I don't even think I heard of that.
I haven't heard of that one.
And again, it's another little bit shaky, found
But
footage.
it's more like possession.
Dude, the found footage.
I think people don't like found footage a lot of times, but honestly, found footage is one of the most brilliant fucking.
Dude, Blair Witch was one of the first horror movies I ever saw.
Footage like Blair Witch style, and of course it's been refined and it's been subcategorized into different ways and everything.
The first time I watched that movie, I didn't know anything about it. I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah, you were like, you thought half of it was real or something. Didn't you?
I didn't know anything about it. I never heard anyone talk about it. I just was like, oh, let me check this out.
No shit.
I put that shit in. I think it was on was it on VHS? No, DVD, I guess.
It might have been.
And I put that in. I started watching it. And I was sucked in, bro. I mean, like halfway through the movie, I'm like, holy shit. So when it got to the end, and I won't say it just in case there is somebody out there that, hasn't seen it, but the end where down in the basement, that dude's facing the wall was like, I was like, oh my God. What?
Everything fell apart.
Yeah, dude.
It just ends with screaming. Yeah, that was one of the most brilliant movies I've ever seen, I think. I think a lot of people have, because at first there was people that hated it. When it first came out, I was like, Blair Witch, it's not even scary. It's like, you missed the fucking bus on that entire
real, bro.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe it's totally fair to say that some people won't be scared by that style, but it's a brilliant fucking film with all the devices in place, which is excellent.
Where it just led up to that
mythology before the movie, which I didn't know about until after the movie, but all this online hype where people like us, how we are now, probably would have been following it. and thinking it was real. God knows there's probably people like fucking psyop.
Well, I got a psyop one. This is the end.
Oh shit! This
Have
is
you
the end.
seen
I
that
haven't
one?
seen that in a long time. Yeah, Seth
Oh man,
Rogen and
it's
Franco.
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like a comedy at the end of the
the
world,
dark
but like
comedy. Yeah.
political. Yeah.
I wasn't in
Uh-huh.
the conspiracy community or listening to any podcasts when that movie came out, so I totally didn't get any of it. I just thought it was a dark comedy.
Yeah.
But fuck yeah,
Yeah,
looking back,
we gotta go back and watch that, dude.
I'll have
That
to go
might be
back and
one
watch that.
for conspiracy theater, bro.
more horror movies. Are you looking for just like scary religious type movies or like shit that alludes to real life
Well,
stuff?
I
'Cause,
guess
like,
more like, does it? Well, I mean, I like watching all that stuff. Well, the possession stuff, my wife, she can't watch.
ah,
It freaks her the fuck out. Which is, this is really funny to me because she is less of a believer than me, right? Like she's like the generic Christian, right? Like, yeah, I believe in God. Like, yeah, sure. I grew up,
nothing else,
going to,
nothing evil.
she went to Catholic church, like, most of her life, growing up and stuff, but she's never had like a spiritual experience. So she's not real into it. It's just real bland kind of, Christian belief. And so she never read the Bible. She doesn't understand any of the Bible verses, like she's not that deep into it,
Yeah,
just real on the surface. Which the thing that's intriguing to me about that is that because of how she believes like that, I would think that the scary stuff wouldn't bother her because she doesn't really believe, all
hmm
that deep stuff.
hmm
But the possession stuff freaks her the fuck out. And so I'm like, okay, maybe there's something going on. I don't know, like inside an internal battle or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's crazy the subconscious mind, man.
Uh
Like, and
huh.
how much this is gonna be kind of deep, but not long. Like, just how much shit you bury and you build this. You just put a fucking mask over mask, you
yeah,
know, and eventually these little like that. That's a little thing that comes out. Like that's something that she might need to acknowledge at some point in her life. Not saying that she does or it's even really a big thing, but just like anything like that, like little ticks and stuff that you have.
Hmm.
It's just like,
yeah.
oh my god,
Why do you chew your lip? Why do you do that?
Yeah.
Why
yeah,
do you bite your fingernails? Like
yeah,
all those things. My 5-year-old recently stopped biting his fingernails all day. He was doing it for a while just from,
Yeah.
letting go of the binky at one point, right? It was just a
uh-huh.
leftover habit. And one day he just said, my brain told me to stop doing it. I'm like, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Wonder what that
interesting. And
means
that's
to
like
him. It's so
second or
weird.
third
Like it was said
comes
with
up,
language, dude. It's so
right?
crazy with little kids
Third
because it's
language.
like they interpret words like way differently than I do. So it's like, what do you say? Like I hear the words you're saying, but what do you mean, dude? Like,
Right. Dude, I think it's funny. Back in the day, I've dated a number of Catholic girls, and that was always the case. Always. That many horror movies. I remember watching like The Devil's Rejects and like
Yeah.
a bunch of other wild, violent shit with these girls. But when it came to any possession movies,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
it was
dude.
absolutely off the table. Even if they
Yeah.
were very agnostic or
Right.
it's just away from it, but it's like it's always this very deep rooted fear.
My mom was like that, bro. I didn't know my mom was like that until I went in the military. When I got my orders to go to Okinawa,
I'm
Japan,
like,
she goes, "Oh my God!" This is 1990, right? There's no internet, there's no nothing like. So she's like, "Oh no!" Like she was legit afraid for me to go spend a year in this country because they were a non-Christian nation,
right.
and she thought I was going to get
Wow.
possessed. She's like, honey, please be on your guard. Be on your spiritual guard while you're over there. Like it freaked me the fuck out, bro, the way she was talking to me. And
All that
I
shit
think
seems
because of
real
that, I
though,
actually
man.
had one night, bro. I had this fucking. I was in my barracks room by myself, passed out, drinking, whatever. And I woke up, I don't know, 2 in the morning or something. And I swear to Christ, I fucking woke up and there's this dark, shadowy, like 10-foot figure
Ugh.
in my in
Bro.
my room, and I had this impending doom on my
Yeah.
chest.
Whoa,
I swear to
bro.
God. Now,
Sleep.
I don't know. I could have drank opium that night. I don't fucking remember. Okay, but I do remember that experience, and it freaked me the fuck out. It freaked me out so bad. My mom made me take a rosary to Okinawa. Okay, so I went to my wall locker thing and I grabbed it and I was holding it. You got to picture this. Here I am. I'm 20 years old, in the best shape of my life. I'm a fucking Marine.
Fucking
Okay,
beast.
Not afraid of
fucking,
anything.
I'm an indestructible bitch. Give me an
Fucking
M16.
right,
Okay, I'll
bro.
shoot whatever. I'm laying in my rack holding this rosary under the covers like a little kid because this fucking thing scared the shit out of me.
That's fucking terrifying.
I've never told any of my buddies, of course, because I didn't want to get embarrassed. So I was embarrassed for myself that I was afraid.
Yeah, but dude,
I'm thinking
what is
about
that?
I was like, bro,
I've had shit like that ever since I was a little kid, dude. Like
I
even
was
as
like,
an adult.
you're not possessing me, okay?
You guys
Bro,
gotta
like
watch
even as
The
an adult, like
Nightmare on
alone.
Netflix. Have
Oh
you guys
my
ever
fucking
seen
God.
the Nightmare documentary? It's all about this shit. Everybody
way.
has it's all about sleep paralysis. Shane, you and I talked about that, I think. Go ahead, tell
Oh.
your story, because fuck, man, you've had it since you were a child, haven't you?
Yeah, dude. So I've never had any like sleep paralysis where like I wake up and like they say like the skag woman or whatever, like the old hag, the hag. Yeah, the hag.
Yeah.
It's like this
I haven't
old
heard
decrepit fucking demon
It's-
witch looking lady
Yeah.
that comes in and like
the
stands on
witch
your
from
chest
Hansel
and
and
like
Gretel.
screams at you.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that terrifies me just thinking about that. But I've never had that experience. Thank fucking
That's
God.
good.
But
That's
I've always my whole fucking life. Thank God it hasn't happened in a long time. But I'm never alone at nighttime anymore, so that's excellent.
Yeah.
But well, I guess sometimes I'll get a little hint of it when I'm in here in the studio, get done podcasting or something. I'm just chilling out by myself. Like I'll just get like a random wave of fucking fear, bro. Like for no reason. I'll even try to like breathe it out. Like what? Like I'm good. Like what? There's nothing here, but like just feels like there's just fucking Satan right here, and I'm like, oh. And I turn everything off real quick, and I run upstairs with my wife, and I'm like, okay.
Wow, that's
What
awesome.
is that? What is that?
I don't know. I still
Yeah, I don't
get a
know.
little glimmer of it. I mean, I'm so think about this. When I was 26, I probably would tell you the same story. Now I'm 38. It's like a little bit more faint, but like every once in a while, I'll remember that fear, and it comes back immediately. So it's
yeah,
like,
dude.
there's my basement. This is my studio. I'm down here all the time. I do so much down here. Indoor gardening as well, and but, like, I'm down here all the time, but every once in a while, especially if I've watched something fucking terrifying, which I usually do, I'm programming myself. I know. But yeah, it is programming because I'll walk up the stairs and be like,
you start walking a
still
little
there.
faster.
It's a primal instinct,
Mhm. You got to shake it out, man. It's like gives you the
Shake.
release.
Dude, my wife has taught me that shit. Like, and she even told me that, what she had learned about how animals do that when they escape an attack or something. You see them shake it all out.
Yeah,
and everything.
that's true.
And you see a dog do that after like a battle with each other in the neighborhood or something like that. Like they shake it all out. And so, of course, you got all these meditation channels and pay me $300. I'll teach you how to shake it out and all that. But like the basic information is like very, physiological and stuff like that. So
I've been following this girl on Instagram, and that's like what she said. She's like, connect with your body, like with a little kid. Like a little kid will be like fucking just so upset, like screaming and crying, and like they'll scream and they'll cry, and then maybe they'll just fucking like, and then they'll just like, oh, sick,
Yeah.
And so it's like, we knew even as like kids how to like regulate our fucking nervous system, and it's just like,
inherently, yeah.
but it's like you're taught like, no, don't do that. That's you're annoying people. You're you're getting on my fucking nerves. Shut up, be still. And dude, I even when I fucking sit still all the time, I get depressed. But if if I'm sitting here and I'm just fucking like rocking, like it might be annoying to somebody, but I feel good. I'm vibing. Like I'm in a good mood. Like I'm ready to talk. But like sit still, like I'm quiet. It's crazy.
High energy, low energy, man.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boys, speaking of high energy and this has been pretty damn epic. We've gone for 2 hours now.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really great to meet you, man. I can't wait. And
Thank
please
you.
let my listeners know where they can find your podcast and your channels.
It's
Oh,
great.
thanks,
It's
man.
not just like about airsoft. Like it's they talk about airsoft, but
Clearly.
it's great. It's so awesome, dude. Like you guys talk about every like I
And I'm
fucking
sorry we
love your
didn't
show,
even,
dude.
I'm sorry we didn't even get to fucking airsoft, man.
Oh no, dude.
That would be a fun topic to dig into anyway, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm, I talk about that with people all the time. So yeah, this
Fair
is
enough.
good. This is a nice, refreshing break.
Cool, man.
But yeah, I do ask a lot of questions. So when somebody tells me something about, I'm like, oh, did you have a brother? Oh yeah, I had a brother. And it kind of leads down this rabbit hole of the path of like, well, how'd you get into that? Like, so we talk. So many people that I have on the podcast, they'll go, so are we going to talk about airsoft? I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead.
That's
so,
awesome. I like that. You set a
so,
base and you just dance around it for a while.
yeah, right. Like, hey man, I like hearing about somebody's story, but it's Trifecta Airsoft is the YouTube channel, and if you Google Trifecta Airsoft podcast, you'll see all the different platforms we're on and
Awesome.
where you can find all that. I think episode 270 something just came out,
Excellent.
and yeah, so it's been fun. I met a lot of people. I mean, I talk to people all over the world. So
It's such a
Austria, Belgium,
That's
everywhere, Canada. Yeah,
dude.
really odd. You're
Podcasting's
reaching a lot of
awesome.
people. That's cool.
yeah, South Africa. It's been really fun. It's been really good for me too. As an explorer of all these different things, I love to learn from the different cultures and stuff and their experiences. Because I'm always, when I talk to somebody in a different country, especially like somebody, maybe the first time I've talked to somebody, like I taught this girl in Austria. I was like, so how was high school? Like, what do you guys learn over there? Like, what do you
Right.
do you learn how to drive when you're like 12? What do you do? Like,
It's saying about us. What are they saying?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's pretty true.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, no, man, it's been great meeting you too, Andy. It's been really
Likewise.
fun. I will. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to all the different podcasts you guys mentioned. Mention them again because I want to go on and find all these too.
Yeah, we'll have to send you a
Tinfoil
list,
something
man.
and
Tinfoil
Hat's
hat.
actually a good place to find a lot of good researchers.
okay.
Mark does
Family
Mark
thinks
does
I'm
a good job
crazy.
of booking people for sure. He puts a lot of good people into a big spotlight, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Tinfoil
Yeah,
Hat's a good place to start.
His show is My Family Thinks I'm Crazy, and check out the podcast collective, Alt Media United, dude. Like,
Yeah, all
so many good shows, so many good podcasters, dude.
Same with Forbidden Knowledge News.
Yes, Forbidden Knowledge
FKN.
Network.
If you type in FKN,
Fucking
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of good people on there too. Yeah, man, it's great to talk to you and get another person in the community, basically, at least
Nice.
in the space. It's great to get to know you, man. And
Appreciate it.
everybody, Shane, want to tell them where they can find you if they don't. I mean, they know who you are. They know exactly who you are. You have your fucking podcast right behind you now, and I love it.
That looks cool.
I knew
I
some, but
knew
I
some.
didn't know it all. Get rid of the K in Newsome to play on my last name. I'm on pretty much every single platform except YouTube and Apple. YouTube because I guess I'm lazy, and Apple because they keep fucking me around. And I can't upload to it. It won't work. They
That's
send me in
weird.
a loop. They send me in like a loop. It's like agree to this to post, and then like I click on the thing to let me agree to it, and I don't even remember what happens now, but it sent me in this like fucking loop where I couldn't agree to their like terms of service. And
I had that
don't-
trouble too. I can't even remember how I got out of it, but I absolutely can't get back in. So I don't know any of my stats on it. I'm like going in this loop of like not having my ID and then not having a password to like match it. And it's just like this endless horrible.
Oh my god.
And Apple's like, "Fuck you. We're all robots. We're all robots."
So since we're all putting this out, Andy, where can our listeners find you?
I am on social media quite a bit on Instagram and Twitter under the Deep Share. I'm on YouTube and Odyssey and pretty much all the platforms for podcasts, the Deep Share podcast. And I'm on Patreon, which you're hearing this. If you're my listeners, you're hearing it here first. But this will be released to the public inevitably. I don't want to really keep anything forever behind a paywall or anything. But if you do want more content, then that's where you can get it for sure.
Gotcha.
A lot of me and Shane going deep and getting weird.
Yeah, that's good.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Awesome, man. Well,
This
thank
has
you
been
guys.
great.
It's been awesome.
For sure,
Absolute.
dude. E-Rock,
Thank
dude. Thanks for
everyone.
doing this, man.
Yeah.
It's great
thank you
talking to you again.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thanks for
All right,
listening.
guys.
Thanks for watching.
Sleepy boys.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Later.
Recording stopped.